Welcome to Chinese Novel Audiobook. Chapter 61 Him is really dead. Xu Yuan put a lot of effort into this battle. I have to say that people like Yunli are still very difficult to deal with. Too suspicious, so Xu Yuan must do everything to the extreme. Otherwise, it would be difficult to hook the old fox Yunli. Fortunately, hard work pays off, and Xu Yuan finally made it. Finally, we were able to close the net. Xu Yuan also followed Yunli and his group carefully, fearing that he would be exposed. Less than 5 minutes after Yunli's post was published, the click rate exceeded 1 million. It can be seen how important an attractive title is. After seeing the post, the players thought that someone was trying to get traffic. But after seeing that the poster was the vice president of the Undead Guild, they all clicked on it out of curiosity. When they saw the video in the post, they were all stunned. What the hell? Is this video real or photoshopped? Him is dead. No way. Could the mosaic in the pit be photoshopped? This doesn't look like him. No eye roll. Are you stupid? Damn, your eyes are closed, what's the use of rolling your eyes? This video should not be photoshopped. It shows the game screen recording, which was recorded and uploaded in real time. Hiss. In other words, him was killed by the people from Undead Guild. What the hell? Let me take my time. Could this be another conspiracy of him? Him died so easily. I think it's a conspiracy too. That's him, the big devil him. I advise you not to deify him too much. Aren't there many big guys who have studied him? His own strength is actually not that strong. He is just scheming. I heard before that the vice president of the Undead Guild is a ruthless person with many evil intentions. Don't even think about it. It's really possible that him will fall into his hands. According to rumors, the senior members of the Undead Guild and the elite players have not returned to their base in the past few days, and their status is also offline. Basically, this means that they are carrying out secret activities. So this is true. Him is really dead. It's pretty close, right? Didn't you see all the things dropped in the pit? Many of them are things we haven't seen before. Quote. Yunli's post undoubtedly shocked the players speechless. At first, after seeing this video, players all thought that the video might have been photoshopped. Many professionals have also spontaneously begun to identify whether there are signs of photo editing in the videos. The results of the appraisal also made many players give up. The video is the original image directly, without any trace of photo editing. It is a video recorded in real time during the game. Furthermore, him will drop items when he dies. There are indeed many drops that players have never seen before. Although the players couldn't believe this fact, they had no choice but to believe it. The terrifying demon king him who was good at guessing people's minds and had an army of monsters had fallen from the altar. He is indeed dead. No matter how powerful he is, no matter how horrific his previous deeds were. At this moment, it has all become the past. There will be no more stories about him in the game. Although the players have not yet recovered from the shock, they are slowly beginning to accept this fact. That's it. You dare to call yourself the Demon King with this strength. It's good that it's gone. I don't have to worry anymore. Oh, what a pity. I haven't even met him yet, and he died just like that. I was planning to persuade him to join him, but I didn't expect that. Damn it, the group of him, the devil's little follower, who I worked so hard to run, finally reached 500 people, and you tell me that him is gone. Quote. I've already written the outline for my F***********G fan fiction, and you're telling me him is gone. The one above, it's better not to start writing than to end it, think positively. From the comments of the players, we can see that there are actually quite a few players who feel sorry for the death of him. Although him is a villain, his personal charm is indeed very strong. Although players have never seen him, they can still be infected by his charm. He does have the aura of a great devil. But the players never expected that such a cruel demon king would just disappear like this. Less than an hour after Yunli's post was published, it was pinned to the top of the list. More and more players are also aware of him's death. The reputation of the Undead Guild naturally rose. Just because of killing him, the guild's popularity directly dropped to second place. Guild popularity is based on player votes. The higher the popularity, the more players want to join that guild. The Undead Guild has undoubtedly become a hot commodity. After all, it was the guild that killed him, and relying on the items dropped by him, the guild's future was bright. Many players also want to join the Undead Guild. Since the Yuntang Guild is considered a large guild, the recruitment standards are very high. They will not announce the location of the guild casually. Players who want to join the guild can chat privately with the senior management, and then they can enter after passing the assessment. The players all know the membership process of the Yuntang Guild, and have privately chatted with the top leaders of the Yuntang Guild through various channels. But they found that these senior executives did not respond to them at all. Seeing this, many players couldn't help but start complaining in the forum. This Yuntang Guild is so arrogant. They don't even reply to private messages. They posted the video just to recruit people, why are they pretending? It turns out I'm not the only one here. The entry level to Yuntang Guild is really high. My brother and I were all covered in irons. We chatted with them privately, but they didn't reply to me. Who cares if it's just a pretense? Forget it. Quote, quote. At this moment, in the jungle more than 5,000 yards away from the Yuntang Guild headquarters, several players wearing full body armor were discussing with each other. Along, has Yunli replied to your message? No, I saw a lot of people complaining on the forum that Yuntang Guild didn't reply to their messages. Aaron said, closing the forum. After hearing this, the players couldn't help but complain. This Yuntang Guild killed him and is showing off. That's right. You've been trying every possible way to recruit us. I couldn't stand your despicable behavior. Why are you pretending to be noble now? So what do we do now? Should we look for another guild or go and have a look? This place doesn't seem far from their base, why don't we go take a look? Quote, quote. Aaron and his group have always been expert players among the independent players, and the Yuntang Guild had intended to recruit Aaron and his group before. So Aaron and his group knew the location of the Yuntang Guild. But Aaron and his friends had looked down on the Yuntang Guild before, so they had never reached an agreement. After seeing the post published by the Yuntang Guild, Aaron and his group changed their minds. But they couldn't contact anyone from the Yuntang Guild. After hearing his friend's suggestions, Aaron thought for a moment and then agreed. Okay, let's go to their base and take a look. Chapter 62, Kill its owner. The Eternal Guild headquarters. What? Him was killed by Yunli. Tian Heng looked at the high-level players in disbelief. Yes, Yunli posted a post an hour ago. Now that post has been selected as the featured post. The players in the guild who can verify the authenticity of videos have all verified it, and the video is indeed not fake. That guy hasn't returned to the base in the past few days. He seemed to say that they had developed some killer weapon. Him actually died in their hands. I've also read that post. When him died, a lot of stuff dropped, including a treasure map. Him's treasure must have a lot of good stuff. Damn it, it's because of this incident that the Yuntang Guild is now ranked above us. Quote, quote. The meeting room of the Eternal Guild was filled with sour air. I don't know if it was just a few bottles of vinegar being poured. When Tian Heng heard what the senior executive said, he became furious. Damn it. Hurry up and gather everyone to kill that diamond suit zombie. When Him was there before, Tianeng had to give him face. The diamond suit zombies have not been touched and are being treated with delicious food and drinks. Now him is gone. If the news of them feeding diamond-suited zombies gets out, the Eternal Guild will be completely disgraced. Tian Heng has been very angry these days because he has been feeding diamond suit zombies every day. Not to mention Tian Heng, even the players in the guild are like this. But they dared not speak out. For the sake of the overall situation, they could only appease the diamond suit zombies first. But it's different now, him is dead. There is no one protecting the diamond suit zombies. Naturally, they don't have to endure it anymore. With the strength of the Eternal Guild, it is more than enough to deal with diamond suit zombies. After hearing Tian Heng's words, the senior executives were eager to try. I've been holding this breath for so long, and now I can finally let it out. Next, if they kill the diamond suit zombies, they can get back some ground. No matter what, the diamond zombie is still Him's #1 little brother. Okay, I'll arrange it right away. Killing him will earn you a set of diamond suits. I guess it will also drop a lot of stuff. Let's control the wolf first, and then we can slowly deal with the diamond suit zombie. Quote, quote. After receiving Tian Heng's order, the Eternal Guild immediately took action. First they must deal with the problematic wolf. At this moment, Peng Peng is having fun playing with the little bug in his matchbox. I saw several high-level players suddenly rushing in. Without saying a word, he pinched the back of little bug's neck and pulled it out. What are you doing? Don't pull it like that. It will hurt. Where are you taking it? Quote. Under normal circumstances, Peng Peng would definitely not dare to speak to these high-level players like this. But at this moment, seeing them treating his little bug so rudely, Peng Peng didn't care anymore. The high-level players ignored Peng Peng's obstruction, pushed him away, and forcibly took the little bug out. Seeing this, Peng Peng hurriedly followed. The senior executives came to the square with the small bug. At this moment, all the players of the Eternal Guild have gathered here. When Peng Peng saw this scene, although he didn't know what was going on, he felt something was wrong. The high-level players dragged the small bug to the center of the square. Seeing this, little bug seemed to sense something. He bit the high-level player who was dragging him in one bite. The high-level player was bitten by the small bug and it hurt so much that he just raised his hand and threw the small bug away. The little bug fell heavily to the ground. Seeing that the situation was not good, it immediately stood up and prepared to escape. The players of the Eternal Guild immediately surrounded it. Although the little bug bared its teeth and roared at the players, its tail was tightly tucked between its legs. You can tell at a glance how nervous it is at the moment. At this moment, Tian Heng, who was standing in the center of the square, finally spoke. Did everyone see it? If it is a tamed wolf, will it bite people on its own initiative? Will it bar its teeth and roar at us? Tian Heng said as he slowly approached the small bug and continued. I believe everyone knows that strange things have been happening frequently in the forest north of our station. The monster seemed to have become a spirit and killed many of our brothers. A lot of the equipment we worked so hard to get was lost. Having said that, Tian Heng came to Little Bug and stared at the trembling little bug. A few days ago, we finally found out that this wolf and HIM's zombie brother hiding in the forest were responsible for all this. This beast sneaked into our guild and tipped off our group, so HIM's zombies attacked us in secret. The players of the Eternal Guild were a little surprised when they heard the news. Tianeng also intentionally kept this matter secret, so only a small number of players knew about it. Players were previously curious as to why pedicure sheds were no longer built in the forest, but it was simply stated that the location was not suitable. After hearing Tian Heng's words, the players finally understood the reason. Shit, this B*************** D is trying to play a sour trick. Damn it, is it this beast that caused me to explode a whole set of iron sets? This is not a wolf at all, it's a real dog. Now him is dead. What's HIM's little brother? Let's go. Kill him. Damn it. Break this wolf cub's legs. See if he dares to tip off the police again. Kill this beast. The players' anger was instantly aroused. The reason why they were so angry was that they were angry that they fell into the hands of a wolf. If it was him, it would be fine. HIM's younger brother could still accept it. It turned out to be the pet of HIM's younger brother. Doesn't this prove that they are not even as good as pets? How could the players bear this? They were all furious and immediately wanted to get back at this little bug. Seeing the players' anger, Tian Heng nodded with satisfaction. He came over to Little Bug and then pulled out a diamond sword from his backpack. He chopped directly at the two front legs of Little Bug. With a terrible roar, the diamond sword instantly cut off the two front legs of Little Bug. Kill it, kill it. We need to teach these beasts a lesson about the consequences of going against us players. Damn it. This is so satisfying. Are you going to tip off the police now? Amid the players' cheers, Tian Heng surrendered again. Little Bug's two hind legs were also chopped off. The little bug was in so much pain that he couldn't even scream. The blood instantly soaked the surrounding soil. Tian Heng picked up the dying little bug, lifted it up, and then said to the players. Let's go. Everyone, follow me and kill its owner. Chapter 63. Are you looking for it? The people of Tianeng Guild have perfectly demonstrated the saying, bully the weak and fear the strong. When HIM was here, they didn't dare to touch it even if a small bug peed on their heads. Now that he had learned of HIM's death, he immediately took his anger out on a powerless wolf. Peng Peng was heartbroken when he saw Little Bug being destroyed like this by Tianeng. Although he knew the truth of the matter, he could not empathize with the players of the Eternal Guild. He was really happy during the days when Little Bug was with him. Moreover, although Little Bug is a spy of HIM's younger brother, Little Bug has never done anything to harm Peng Peng. There were even a few times when Peng Peng was sent out hunting, and when he was besieged by monsters, it was the little bug that saved him. Although this is just a game, Peng Peng really felt the vitality of the small bug. He could feel that it was not just a set of data, it was flesh and blood. It can express its emotions, it has joy, anger, sorrow, and happiness. Its eyes light up when it sees fresh meat. When playing frisbee, its tail shakes like a propeller. When Peng Peng touches it, it always turns its belly up towards Peng Peng. Peng Peng could also feel that little bug trusted him very much and had no ill will towards him. Looking at the dying little bug picked up by Tianeng, Peng Peng really wanted to rush out to save it. But he didn't dare. He was the one who brought back the minor bug, and the guild suffered so much loss because of his decision. It was already a special favor that Tianeng did not settle the score with him. Peng Peng never dared to contradict Tianeng. Small bug. Sorry. It's all my fault. I shouldn't have brought you back. As soon as Tianheng finished speaking, the players of the Eternal Guild responded to him with high morale. Brothers, let's kill him together. As him's younger brother, you must be prepared. Him is already buried. We will send you down to accompany him. Let's go. Get back all those iron sets we lost. The players of the Eternal Guild were immediately deployed. They immediately formed a team and began to head towards the forest in the north. The northern forest of the Eternal Guild. 007 glanced at the sky through the gaps in the leaves. It was noon at this moment. Every day at this time, a group of players from the Eternal Guild would come to build a pedicure shed. This group of players have also learned to be smart, and they don't wear expensive equipment. But when they were attacked by the monster, they had no power to resist and were quickly killed. This happened for several days in a row, which made 007 start to become suspicious. He always felt something was odd, although he couldn't quite put his finger on what was odd. Although Xu Yuan had taught him various ways to deal with players before. But he was not taught to read people's hearts. 007 faces very few players, so naturally he doesn't understand these things. So, even if it felt something was wrong in its subconscious, its cognition was limited and it could not figure out where the problem lay. 007 was thinking, but his thoughts were interrupted by unusual movements in the distance. In the distance, I saw a team of players from the Eternal Guild walking towards this side. Just like a few days ago, they should be here to build a pedicure shed. Seeing this, 007 didn't think any more about it. Roar! He growled towards the forest in the distance. After a while, the monsters were gathered together. These days, the monsters have formed habits and know how to deal with this group of players without 07's command. The players gradually approached, and the monsters used the tree trunks to hide their bodies, waiting for them to come over and kill them in one fell swoop. As the team of players from the Eternal Guild got closer, the monsters also gathered closer. At this moment, there were some rustling sounds coming from the leaves above the monsters' heads. Upon seeing this, 007 immediately felt that something was not right. Just about to summon the monsters to disperse. But they found that the leaves above their heads were knocked off in an instant. All I saw were players from the Eternal Guild jumping down from the treetops, and then quickly gathering around the monsters. In less than half a minute, all the monsters were surrounded by Eternal's group of players. The Eternal Guild has a huge number of players, approximately more than 10,000 people. They broke out from the top of the forest and surrounded 007 and his monsters. Seeing such a large number of players, 007 panicked instantly. He understood instantly that the players who had been sent to him for easy kills were just a trick. It was also because of his own negligence that the entire monster team was plotted against by the Eternal Guild. The players of the Eternal Guild obviously did not give the monsters time to react. Go! At a command, the players rushed towards the monsters all at once. Although many of the monsters under 007 have awakened their primary consciousness. But they only evolved a brain, their strength did not increase much. Faced with so many players, they became panicked in an instant. Although they put up a desperate resistance, due to the absolute numerical pressure, these counterattacks turned into a desperate struggle. Brothers, kill them all. Get our equipment back. You are the only one who is qualified to wear a metal suit. Here you go. Are you scared now? Weren't you so arrogant before? It was you, the spider, who killed me 3 times. I'll give them all to you. Today I'll let you experience the taste of death too. The total number of monsters present was no more than 400 at most, but more than 10,000 people from the Eternal Guild came to this battle. And the monsters were ambushed and suppressed by such numbers. No matter how powerful the monsters are, they cannot withstand the human wave tactics. They are not him, so naturally they don't have HIM's abilities. Besides, even with him's great abilities, he still died at the hands of players. What's more, these little ones are. The players of the Eternal Guild were as excited as if they had been injected with chicken blood. They have no tactics at all, they just rush in. The monsters died one by one under the chaotic sword attack. Seeing the monsters he had trained falling one by one, 007 was completely enraged. Roar. With a roar, he immediately rushed into the crowd. Take down a group of players with one swing. I have to say that 07's combat effectiveness is still very strong. With the blessing of the diamond set, plus its own powerful strength attribute. Working among the players of the Eternal Guild is like cutting melons and vegetables. The players of the Eternal Guild were also defeated again and again. I didn't dare to get close to 007 at all. What the hell? This diamond suit zombie is so reckless. Hiss. He seems to be stronger than in the battle with the Triumph Guild. His diamond suit is too resistant to damage. There's no way to break his defense. I just don't believe it. Can't more than 10,000 of us defeat one of HIM's little brothers. Quote. 007 was so bloodthirsty that his fighting ability became stronger and stronger. Wherever he went, a group of players fell down with just a wave of his hand. Even the players who were wearing full body armor were killed instantly. But what's strange is that while attacking the players, 007 was also checking the soles of their feet, as if he was looking for something. Tianeng also noticed this detail immediately. Just when 007 was about to break through the encirclement and escape, Tianeng finally stood up. He threw the little bug, who had a broken leg and was dying, in front of 007. Are you looking for it? Chapter 64. He might just want to be with it forever. 007 only saw Tianeng throwing out a bloody thing. He immediately stopped attacking, and when he got closer and took a closer look, he found that it was actually a wolf with a broken leg. Although the wolf's body was completely stained red with blood, 007 still recognized it at a glance. Roar. A deafening roar echoed throughout the forest. Seeing his dying partner, 007 has completely lost the desire to fight. He immediately came to the little bug and picked it up. At this moment, the little bug was already very weak. After being picked up by 007, its nose moved, as if it was trying hard to distinguish the smell. After smelling the scent of 007, it forced itself to open its eyes. When it saw 007 right in front of it, even though its body was completely exhausted, its tail still subconsciously shook a few times. Roar, roar. At this moment, 07's voice began to tremble. He could feel that the little bug's life was about to dissipate. The hands holding little bug began to tremble. To him, the little bug is a partner, a good friend, a relative, and also the hope given to him by his master. Seeing that the little bug was getting weaker and weaker, 007 suddenly felt helpless. He didn't know what to do, and he didn't have the ability to do anything. Thinking back to the time he had spent with little bug, 007 actually let out a whimpering sound from his throat. This scene undoubtedly caused a great shock to the players of the Eternal Guild. It's so pitiful. Is it okay to say this? Damn it, why is there sand in my eyes? I can't be a saint, I can't be a saint. They killed quite a few of our players, woo-woo. We can be resurrected after death, it's nothing more than dropping some equipment, this. People who raise animals themselves really can't stand seeing these things. Quote. Little bug used up his last bit of strength and stuck out his tongue. As usual, he licked 007 on the face. Just this one bite had already exhausted all its strength. The trembling tongue fell down immediately after touching 07's cheek for a moment. Roar, roar. Little bug has held on for so long just to see 007 again. Lick his cheek again. Of course, if he had the strength, he would like to play the eyeball throwing game with 007 again. It wanted to see 07's panicked expression again when he thought his eyeball had been eaten directly. It wanted 007 to touch its belly again. But it can't do it. At this moment, 007 seemed to see through Little Bug's thoughts. He dug out his eyeballs and stuffed them into Little Bug's mouth. Roar, roar, roar. 007 shook the Little Bug's body vigorously, as if to get it to get up and play with him. The eyeballs fell down again and again, and 007 stuffed them back in again and again. Just keep repeating this action. Roar, roar. Don't you like my eyeballs? I'll give them to you. You don't have to give them back to me. He seemed to be saying this. At this moment, 007 finally felt the heartache. He has no sense of pain. Even if a sharp weapon pierces his heart, he will not feel anything. But at this moment, he felt a dull pain in his left chest. I've never felt this way before. 007 held the little bug motionlessly, and the eternal players next to him seemed to be touched as well. They also did not take the opportunity to launch an attack. Only at this moment did they truly feel that these two monsters were alive. And the life of one of the monsters was dissipated because of them. 007 held little bug tightly in his arms the whole time. Until its body lost its temperature. After little bug completely lost his vital signs, his body gradually began to dissipate. Seeing this, 007 suddenly became a little flustered. He couldn't accept the death of little bug. But he had to accept it. Because he had no way to save the little bug. But he can no longer allow little bugs to disappear from this world. After thinking about this, 007 immediately made a bold decision. He stood up and suddenly put his hands to his mouth. Crack, crack. Following two tearing sounds, 007 was seen tearing his own mouth open alive. Then there was another loud click. He forcibly pried open his jaw. The players of the Eternal Guild were all stunned when they saw this. They all don't know why 007 is committing self-harm at this moment. Is it because he was too sad after losing the little bug? The players were confused. I only saw 007 pick up little bug's body and start stuffing it into his mouth. At this moment, he was eating like a snake. It swallowed the little bug's body alive. When the players of the Eternal Guild saw this situation, they were all stunned. Quote question mark 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 quote. What the hell? Swallowed alive. What happened? Wasn't he so reluctant to part with the wolf just now? Why did he start chewing it? I was wondering how a monster could understand emotions. It was so affectionate just now, but now it's still eating. Quote. I think he might want to keep the wolf. Yes, the wolf's body has slowly begun to dissipate. If it is not eaten, it will be gone. Zombies don't have a digestive system, so if they eat the wolf will remain in their stomachs forever, right? That's true. He tore his mouth and fractured his jaw in the beginning, just to be able to swallow the wolf whole and preserve it intact, right? He should have found another way to stay with the wolf forever. Quote, quote. 07's behavior undoubtedly brought great shock to the players present. Seeing this scene, many players of the Eternal Guild wiped away their tears silently. Although they are enemies, the relationship between 007 and Bug does touch them. Although these two monsters have their own thoughts, they are different from the players. Their thinking is simple. They have their own missions and they have their own partners. They have chosen each other, and that is a lifelong commitment. Even if you die, I will always protect you in my own way. 007 endured great psychological torture and ate the corpse of little Bug. After swallowing the little Bug whole, it suddenly felt dizzy. It was as if a switch was turned on in my body, and my body suddenly began to go out of control. The whole body suddenly became extremely weak. In an instant, he completely lost his combat effectiveness. Although he didn't know why he became like this, he had a feeling that it seemed to be related to the small bug. After eating the little bug, 007 was so weak that he couldn't even stand up. Tianeng also immediately noticed the changes in 007. Good opportunity. Tian Heng is not like other players. He has no sympathy towards 007 and the little bug. No matter how tragic their stories are, Tian Heng will not be moved. Because he knew very well that this was just a game. As the president of the Eternal Guild, he naturally puts the interests of the guild first. He looks weak. Everyone, attack him together. After Tian Heng gave the order, the players looked at each other, seeming to be a little hesitant. Seeing this, Tian Heng was about to start cursing. At this moment, he received a message from Yongwei, the president of Eternal Glory. You didn't tell me about this big thing where there are diamond suit zombies near your guild's base. You still want to kill him? Do you have a pig brain? Stop it now and control that diamond suit zombie. Chapter 65. Let him become the second him. Seeing Yongwei's barrage of curses, Tianeng was also a little confused. He indeed hasn't told Yongwei about this yet. Originally, Tianeng was thinking of killing the diamond suit zombie and then looking for Yongwei to make a contribution. But I didn't expect Yongwei to know the news in advance. In fact, Yongwei knew about this as early as when Tianeng and others discovered 007. At that time, Yongwei also felt that it was not easy to deal with. After all, him was there. If Tianeng and the others really touched 007, the Eternal Guild would be in great danger. Yang also agrees with Tianong's approach. The reason why we pretend not to know is simply because of face. It was too embarrassing to deliver rations to monsters, so Yang just pretended not to know. But Yang never expected that Tianong would actually have the idea of killing 007. Yang also knew the news about Him's death. Tianong's idea is to quickly get rid of 007 and develop rapidly. And after getting rid of 007, the guild can save some face. Although it is not as good as the Yuntang guild killing him, it is still the case that him's #1 subordinate was killed. Tianong's idea is indeed reasonable, but he only looks at the immediate benefits. Didn't think long term. This is also the reason why Tian Heng is only the president of an affiliated guild. Yang's view on this matter is completely different from Tianong's. Now that him is dead, the Yuntang guild is in great glory because of this incident. If Tianong killed Him's younger brothers, it would seem that this matter had saved some face for the guild. But in fact, the opposite is true. As a subsidiary guild of Eternal Glory, the Eternal Guild is also ranked among the top 5. No matter what happened before, it was always above the Yuntang guild. But because of the Him incident, Yuntang guild suddenly became the second most popular guild. Tian Heng thought that by killing Him's younger brother he could bypass the Yuntang guild again, but that was definitely impossible. Can Him's younger brother compare with him? Even if Him's brothers were killed, the popularity of the guild could not be restored. The Yuntang guild still has the upper hand over the Eternal Guild. Furthermore, if Tianong really killed Him's little brother, then it would prove that he had fed him before. There was already some gossip outside, and some big guilds knew about it. They had already been secretly making fun of the Eternal Guild. If Tianong really killed 007, it would prove that he was timid when Him was around, but struck hard when Him was gone. Although if this happened to all guilds, they would probably do the same. But feeding monsters is really embarrassing. No matter what, you'll be laughed at if you tell others about it. Moreover, it is not difficult to find that the feeding of monsters and the killing of him by Yuntang guild were carried out at the same time. Before, the Yuntang guild was not as strong as the Eternal Guild. When they met him, they fought hard and killed him. The Eternal Guild was so scared of encountering Him's little brothers that they would feed them on their own. If this were to be true, then no matter how well the Eternal Guild developed, it would become a laughing stock among other guilds. It was because Yang was considering the long term that he did not let Tianong kill 007. The best way at the moment is to find a way to imprison 007. In this way, if there are any gossips from the outside world, the Eternal Guild can directly say that the previous feeding was to make him relax his vigilance, and then arrest him. This justifies the previous embarrassing behavior. It also wouldn't be a problem that other guilds would catch and laugh at. As for what to do after 007 is imprisoned, we can make plans later. It has to be said that Yang, as the president of the first guild, thinks much more long-term and thoughtfully than Tianong. In the current situation, we definitely cannot kill 007, otherwise the image of the guild will be ruined. After Tianong saw Yang's news, he was a little confused. But he still didn't dare to disobey Yang's words. Tian Heng glanced at 007 in front of him. He didn't know why, but after he swallowed the little bug, he became so weak that he couldn't move. At this moment, 007 is completely at the mercy of others. After Tian Heng thought about this, he pondered for a moment and then said to the players. Send someone with an iron bucket to get some magma, and then build an obsidian cage at the base. Take him back and lock him up first. Although 007 is currently at the mercy of others, it does not mean that he will always be like this. Tianong also needs to be a little more cautious. The safest way at the moment is to build an obsidian cage to lock him up, and then wait for Yang's instructions before seeing the situation. After Tian Heng gave the order, the players began to prepare. Although 007 was too weak to move, it still took a lot of effort for the players to move him. Fortunately, there were no setbacks along the way, and 007 was safely transported back to the Eternal Guild headquarters. The obsidian cages of the players at the base are also ready. After putting 007 in the cage, Tianong also sent a message back to Yang. Boss, has imprisoned him. What should I do next? After seeing the news from Tianong, Yang finally breathed a sigh of relief. I heard that this diamond suit zombie is very special. Yang had seen the video of him leading monsters to attack the city. My previous impression of this diamond suit zombie was that it was very fierce and powerful, and it could take away a group of players in one go. Even players covered in iron armor can be killed instantly with one strike. Later, Yongwei learned from the high-level players of the Eternal Guild that this diamond suit zombie, like him, has thoughts. But Yongwei didn't ask for the specific details, so he asked Tianeng. After seeing Yongwei's reply, Tianeng told Yongwei the whole story. It is undeniable that his fighting ability is indeed very strong. If it weren't for that wolf, we wouldn't have been wiped out, but if he wanted to escape, more than 10,000 of us might not be able to stop him. Fortunately, Tianheng was careful enough to fix the small bug before the fight with 007. Otherwise, with 07's strength, he wouldn't be able to wipe out all the people in the Eternal Guild. But it is still possible to break through the siege and escape. This is enough to show his extraordinary strength. After what happened just now, Tianheng was even a little scared. If he hadn't brought the little bug with him, the guild would have lost both the wife and the army. After seeing Tianeng's reply, Yongwei thought for a moment. He originally thought that this HIM's little brother was only slightly stronger than an ordinary monster, and that was why he looked so powerful because of the equipment. It seems that he is still very strong. And it's not hard to see that he's definitely a growth monster. His strength before was totally not on the same level as it is now. On top of that, he can also control monsters like him. If you can use him for your own benefit and train him to become the second him, then there is no need to worry about the development of the guild. Since he has his own thoughts, we should do everything we can to persuade him to rebel and make him work for us. Subscribe to Chinese Novel Audiobook YouTube channel. Chapter 66, I'll kill it no matter how hard I try. If 007 is a mindless monster, and his previous behaviors are only due to the control of him, then Yongwei will definitely not have this idea. But after hearing what Tianeng said, Yongwei felt very surprised. If 007 had ideas, then they could indeed find ways to make 007 work for them. Naturally, Yongwei was just trying it out. If it really succeeds, 007 will definitely become the second devil. But this Demon King is subject to the Eternal Glory Guild. Then wouldn't the Eternal Glory Guild be able to dominate the game? This is indeed the truth, but it may take some effort to put it into practice. Tianeng was instantly enlightened after hearing Yongwei's words. This method works. Before, Tianeng had always sent players to feed 007, so he felt very frustrated about this matter. That's why I want to get back at him. He also never thought that he could recruit 007. Although it sounds ridiculous to recruit monsters, isn't it even more ridiculous to have a thinking monster like him appear in the game? So, there should still be some possibility. Anyway, him is gone now, maybe he can brainwash 007 and arrange some social insurances and housing fund for him. Maybe he can be in the Eternal Guild 996. After Tianheng thought about this, he immediately planned two plans. One is a toast and the other is a penalty drink. If there is no way to negotiate with 007 in a friendly manner, then the only option is to make him drink a penalty drink. After Tianheng closed the chat window, he immediately made arrangements. We should first give 007 some reformatory education. If that doesn't work, we can only torture him mentally. After Yongwei finished chatting with Tianeng, he opened the chat box of Kanglong, the president of the Brilliant Guild. How's it going? Have you dealt with the Ender Dragon? Long before, the Glorious Guild discovered the End Fortress. I also know that I need to collect the Eyes of Ender to open that strange sacrificial device. The Brilliant Guild has also been asking players to search everywhere these days. Finally I have collected all 12 Eyes of Ender. After they placed all the Eyes of Ender on those strange altars. Only then did they realize that this was not a sacrificial device, but a portal. The space in the door frame is like the vast starry sky, with no end in sight. No one knows what is inside. The players of the Glorious Guild also closed their eyes, kicked their legs, took off their equipment and jumped in. When I opened my eyes, I found myself in the end of the world. As soon as they arrived at the end, a dragon roar was heard not far away. Looking up, I saw a huge flying dragon soaring in the endless void. However, the flying dragon did not attack them, but just hovered around several obsidian pillars. There are some iron cages on the obsidian pillars, and inside the cages are things that look like amethyst. The flying dragon seemed to be attracted by these crystals and kept hovering around them. The players of Yongwei Guild are still very sensitive to the game. In general games, dragons exist as bosses. As soon as the players arrived at the end, the name of the dragon, Ender Dragon, appeared above their heads. There is also a long purple tube of blood below. From these factors, it can be judged that this dragon is definitely not simple and is definitely a powerful boss. This is also the only boss that players of the Brilliant Guild encounter after entering the game. Kanglong immediately told Yongwei what he had discovered. Yongwei will naturally not miss this good opportunity. He immediately ordered the Azure Dragon to kill the Ender Dragon. When the Yuntang Guild killed him before, so many things dropped. Yongwei was very envious. If Kanglong and his men can kill the Ender Dragon, they will probably get a lot of good stuff. After receiving Yongwei's message, Kanglong also sighed. At this moment, he is in the end of the world. Seeing the player's equipment dropped all over the ground, he was speechless. Yongwei only knew how to give orders, but he didn't know how difficult it was to kill the Ender Dragon. They fumbled for a long time before they discovered that the amethyst on the obsidian pillar needed to be knocked off. Otherwise, it will restore the Ender Dragon's health. After finally defeating those purple crystals, the players discovered that this boss was extremely strong. With hard dragon scales as protection, bows and arrows cannot cause any damage to it at all. The players finally waited for it to land and settle on the ground. But it will flap its huge wings, and players will not be able to get close to it at all. Moreover, even if the player finally gets close to it, it will spray dragon breath again. The players were tortured by him terribly. It was obvious that this Ender Dragon was not something they could deal with their strength. Originally, Kanglong also wanted to challenge, but after being wiped out several times, Kanglong gave up. He also reported the situation to Yongwei truthfully. "Boss, this thing is really invincible. It's immune to ranged damage. It was so hard to get close to it, and after finally getting close to it, it spat out a mouthful of dragon spit and I was gone." As Kanglong spoke, he also sent the previous battle video to Yongwei. After watching their battle video, Yongwei also had a general understanding of the Ender Dragon. Although the Ender Dragon is very powerful, it is not completely impossible to defeat it. Ranged attacks really can't hurt it, but Yongwei also discovered that when the Ender Dragon was crawling on the ground. After the players approached it, one of them hit it with an iron sword. Yongwei also noticed that after the player hit it, its health changed slightly. In other words, the player caused damage to it. As long as you can hit him, you can kill him. Yongwei has always maintained this principle in all its games. Since among 1,000 people, only one person can take away a little blood from the Ender Dragon. Then we increase the base number. With 10,000 people, we can definitely cut off 1 point of its health, right? If that doesn't work, then 50,000. If that doesn't work, then 100,000. There are more than 50,000 people from Eternal Glory, more than 20,000 people from Eternal Guild, and more than 20,000 people from Kanglong Guild. Can't 100,000 people take down an Ender Dragon? The Eternal Glory Guild has never been short of people. Furthermore, to fight a boss, it is not necessary to mobilize all the members of the guild. Players can hurt the Ender Dragon, but the damage is too low. If that's the case, why not just increase the damage? If I can't cut it with an iron sword, can I use TNT to blow it up? The players of the Glorious Guild have been repairing their feet for a while, so they definitely have no shortage of things like gunpowder. Just get some TNT and fight the Ender Dragon head on. The Ender Dragon is not like him, which has thoughts. It's nothing more than a string of data. There are many ways to deal with it. After thinking about this, Yongwei replied to Kanglong. Increase manpower and mass-produce TNT. No matter what, I'm going to kill it. Chapter 67 Him fakes his death, Yuntang Guild is wiped out. The headquarters of the Yuntang Guild. Aaron and his group walked for more than an hour and finally arrived near the Yuntang Guild headquarters. Are you sure this is the place? There's not even a building anywhere. This is what he told me before. There's no need for him to lie, right? This is weird. Why do the people from the Yuntang Guild seem to have disappeared? They don't reply to my private messages, and I can't find their base either. Quote. Aaron and his group chatted while searching the area thoroughly. Suddenly, the players searching the north side started to scream as if they had encountered something terrible. Aaron and his group immediately came to where he was. I saw a huge deep pit appearing in front of me. Inside the deep pit were various debris that looked like matchboxes. Equipment and supplies were scattered everywhere in the wreckage. Although this place has been bombed beyond recognition, it can still be seen that there must have been people living here before. And there are a lot of players. Judging from the patterns on the decorations on the flags scattered on the ground, this is the headquarters of the Yuntang Guild. Or, it is said that this was once the headquarters of the Yuntang Guild. When they saw the scene in front of them, they were all stunned. What the hell is going on? This place, what on earth has happened? If I'm not mistaken, this is the headquarters of the Yuntang Guild, right? Well, it's just a battle-damaged version. Quote. When Aaron and his group saw this scene, they were all stunned. They even forgot to collect all the equipment and supplies on the ground. Seeing this scene, Aaron was also very puzzled. Didn't they kill him? Then who is responsible for this situation at the station? When the friends heard this, they all shook their heads. Could it be that the other guilds are jealous of what they did? How is that possible? They killed him, which means they have a very powerful trump card in hand. Add to that him's drops and treasures, who would dare to touch them at this juncture? Indeed, looking at the damage, it couldn't have been done by a player. Quote. After hearing what his friends said, Aaron thought for a moment, and then he was shocked. I have a bold idea. Could this be done by him? After hearing what Aaron said, his friends thought about it and were all stunned. No way. Wasn't he killed by the Yuntang Guild? Don't scare me. Hasn't that video been proven to be real? Yes, there are also drops. Although his friends were refuting Aaron verbally, they were shocked by the scene. The thoughts in their minds are actually very similar to Aaron's. It seems that him is the only one who can do this in the whole game. But him was clearly killed, and the video was proven to be real. Are there two hims in this game? After hearing what his friends said, Aaron shook his head. Who else can do this except him? Think about it, I started contacting Yuntang Guild within an hour after they released the news. But they didn't reply to the private message. So many people have complained on the forum, which proves that no one from the Yuntang Guild has responded to the players. That is to say, at that time, they might be experiencing something, or have already experienced something. If they were going through something, that's what we saw, being massacred, they didn't have time to respond. If they've been through something, it means they don't have the face to reply. Then why don't they have the nerve to reply? They just killed him, it's so glorious. The biggest possibility is that they were slapped in the face. I got slapped in the face by him. After hearing what Aaron said, his friends could no longer find any reason to refute him. In fact, they had long felt that this matter might be related to him. But they didn't want to believe it. Aaron's analysis is indeed well organized. Although they were reluctant to accept the fact that him was not dead, everything before them pointed out this fact. If it's really him, would he still be around? What the hell? Are they watching us from somewhere? Don't be so surprised. Does him think highly of our little piece of meat? Indeed, they probably left after killing the people from the Yuntang Guild. So what should we do now? Grab some equipment and leave. Quote. After hearing his friend's words, Aaron thought for a moment and then said, You guys grab it, I'll start a live broadcast. Aaron must tell the players about this. The players of the Yuntang Guild have remained silent, which means they will definitely hide this matter. Players will always mistakenly believe that him is dead and will let down their guard. Aaron actually still agrees with Steve's point of view. At this stage, players can only bypass him and restrict his development, so that they will have a chance to defeat him in the future. If this matter is not made public, then all Steve's previous efforts will be in vain. After Aaron opened the forum, he immediately started the live broadcast. The title of the live broadcast room is also simple and clear. Him faked his death, and the Yuntang Guild was wiped out. Closing square bracket. The live broadcast room had just been opened and there were not many players coming in. Aaron's title was too much of a traffic-grabbing method, and players all came in with the intention of watching the fun. But after seeing the picture on the screen, everyone was dumbfounded. What is this? Don't tell me this is the Yuntang Guild's headquarters. What the hell? This is really not Syria. What's going on? Is the anchor faking this just to get attention? The cost of his counterfeiting is quite high. If I have so much equipment, how can I get any attention? So this is really the headquarters of the Yuntang Guild. Why is this happening? Didn't the Yuntang Guild just kill him? How come his family is gone? You hit the nail on the head. Didn't you see the anchor's title? I told you, it's not that easy for him to die. Oh my goodness, no wonder no one in the Yuntang Guild responded to my private message. Did they get slapped in the face? I was saying, he must have posted the video to attract attention, but it disappeared after he posted it. It turns out he was slaughtered. When players saw Aaron's title, many of them were ready to mock him. But after seeing the ruins of the Yuntang Guild, he swallowed back the curse words that were about to come out of his mouth. Anyone with a brain can tell that this live broadcast cannot be fake. There are so many equipment on the ground, and there is also a flag with the Yuntang Guild's icon. The cost of falsifying is too high. Combined with the fact that many people previously complained in the forum that Yuntang Guild did not reply to messages. The players then realized that him's death was just a farce. At this moment, in the Yuntang Guild's guild channel. The guild channel, which was usually very active, was now completely silent. The players were now scattered all over the place, even though more than half an hour had passed since the massacre. They haven't recovered yet. Isn't him dead? Isn't Wither a summoned creature of the vice president and his men? How could they obey him? Hey, wasn't it the same thing with the Triumphant Guild last time? Weren't those wolves also tamed by the players? Didn't they say that we have countless chances and he only has one? Chapter 68, a folder about him, 5 grams. At this moment, the players of the Yuntang Guild seemed to have lost their souls. They couldn't understand why Yunli had clearly killed him. But him showed up when they were partying at the residence. They also couldn't understand why those 10 withered creatures were clearly summoned by Yunli and the others. But they will obey him. Although they didn't understand it, they still remembered the smile him showed before they died. It wasn't the first time they had seen that smile. Before, when him led monsters to slaughter the Triumph Guild, he showed that kind of smile when he touched the wolf cub's head. After seeing that smile, even though they didn't know what had happened. But they guessed something from that smile. He's playing a trick on us. So it's the same as the Triumph Guild. It's all just an act. Why? The vice president had already seen his body disappear. Why? We did have countless chances, but we naively thought he only had one chance. From the time I started playing games until now, the person I admire most is the vice president. He is extremely thoughtful. I didn't expect that he would fall into HIM's trap. The players of the Yuntang Guild don't know what the story is about. But they could guess that this must be HIM's plan. This is also what shocked them. If it was their guild leader, or the leader of another guild, they would be able to accept being framed by him. But they never expected that someone as meticulous as Yunli was framed by him. Moreover, after him appeared in the guild, the players remembered Yunli's appearance very clearly. Fear, horror, disbelief. The players have followed Yunli for so long, and this is the first time they have seen such an expression on his face. Yunli has always been the brain of the guild. He and Yunfeng also started from scratch and developed the Yuntang Guild without relying on any consortium. And it developed very well. In less than 5 years, it became one of the top 10 guilds. All of this is thanks to Yunli's wisdom. The reason why we cannot compare with the top-ranked guilds is entirely due to hardware factors. We really can't compete with the consortium. The Yuntang Guild has achieved such results, and most of it is due to Yunli's efforts, not all of it. This is also the reason why players are afraid of him. Even people like Lien Yunli were arranged clearly by him. Only before he died did he realize that he had been set up. At this moment, Yunli was staring at the guild channel in a daze. He kept thinking back to which detail went wrong. But he never thought of it. Because from planning to implementation, he didn't feel anything wrong in every process. He is such a cautious person that he considers everything carefully over and over again. In Yunli's opinion, this plan is also quite perfect. He couldn't figure out where the mistake had gone. This is what makes Yunli feel terrified. He didn't even know when him started planning all this. I fell into HIM's trap without realizing it. This was the first time he felt frustrated after playing the game for so long. And this feeling of frustration was brought to him by a monster. Damn it, I don't want to play anymore. Yunli really couldn't stand this feeling. As long as him exists, he will always remember the contemptuous look in his eyes when he faced himself. He was completely suppressed by him, whether in terms of strength, strategy or intelligence. How could Yunli, who has always been proud, bear this? What's more, the other party is not a human being, but a monster. Furthermore, from the very beginning, he had been receiving private messages from various players. The content is pretty much the same. Didn't him die? Why is your house gone? You slapped me in the face a little too quickly. I don't know if it hurts you. Hey, why did you provoke him so badly? Quote. Yunli is a person who cares a lot about his reputation. In this way, I have completely lost face. Even if Yunli doesn't quit the game, he will never be able to hold his head up in the game again. After thinking about this, Yunli gritted his teeth and made a decision. Brother, I'm quitting the game. After Yunli sent a message to Yunfeng, he quit the guild and then went offline. To be honest, Yunfeng was not surprised after seeing the news about Yunli. Yunli has such a high moral character, if he continues to stay in the game, he will probably be suffocated to death. Yunfeng did not try to stop Yunli, because he knew that he could not stop him. Shortly after Yunli quit the guild, Yunfeng posted a message on the guild channel. "Brothers, I'm sorry, see you later." After saying that, Yunfeng disbanded the guild. Without Yunli, there was no need for the guild to continue. Furthermore, all the equipment and supplies that the guild had accumulated with great difficulty were gone in an instant. All the efforts of these days have gone to waste. The game's reputation was ruined because of this incident, and the players became discouraged. There was no need for Yunfeng to stay any longer. Might as well just find another game and start over. After Yunfeng disbanded the guild, all the players were kicked out of the guild by the system. Although the players were somewhat surprised, it was actually within their expectations. The incident of Him's death was known to the entire server. As a result, not long after, the Yuntang guild was wiped out. Even if Yunfeng and the others didn't disband the guild, they would have quit on their own. Mainly because it's so damn embarrassing. Fortunately, we disbanded. Otherwise, it would be difficult to withdraw and it would be embarrassing to leave. Oh, I don't want to play anymore. I have to start all over again. Why would the vice president want to provoke him for no reason? Isn't there a precedent before? Quote. Many old players of the Yuntang guild also quit the game along with Yunli and the others. The remaining players left and started over. After Yunli quit the game, although it was his own decision, he was still very angry and didn't know where to vent. He also immediately went to the official website of the game and began to report the problem to customer service. What kind of crappy game is this? What kind of monster did you create? Doesn't this destroy the balance of the game? I advise you to find out what him is right now. Otherwise, it's game over sooner or later. Under Yunli's persuasion, Yunfeng and the senior management of the guild also reported this issue to the game officials. Also included are pictures of him and a video of his previous siege. 0. Company Customer Service Department. After receiving the message from Yunli and others, Xiao Wang took a look at the video. Then I put Yunli and his team's feedback and videos into a folder called Him Feedback. The customer service department will basically submit player feedback to senior management and technical departments once a week. It has been 4 days since the last feedback. You can submit again in 3 days. At this moment, the folder reported by him has reached more than 5G. Although there are videos and pictures in the folder, they only take up 2.5G at most. The rest is text feedback. In other words, text feedback takes up 2.5G. Seeing such huge data, Xiao Wang was also very surprised. Strange, why are so many people giving feedback on him? What on earth is this him? Chapter 69 Boss. Boss, say something. Xiao Wang didn't play this game, after all, working in customer service is very busy. Although he works in a game company, Xiao Wang is not very interested in games. So he has never come into contact with the game, Minecraft. Although he is not interested in games, he still has to do his job well. In fact, feedback about Him was received as early as a week ago. It's just that there weren't many before, and at that time, players reported that there were inexplicably powerful white-eyed monsters in the game. He also said that the monster had thoughts or something. Xiao Wang had previously packaged and submitted these materials to senior management and technical departments. But they did not take this issue seriously. After all, the game company doesn't rely on this one game to make money. Furthermore, the technical department also checked and found that there were no bugs in the game. So there was no further news. Xiao Wang originally thought that the matter about the white-eyed monster would just slowly pass. But I didn't expect that since then, many players would come to give feedback every day. The white-eyed monster gradually got a name and became him. Every time the players gave feedback, they were filled with indignation, but Xiao Wang was unable to give them a reasonable explanation. The key point is that this matter is not Xiao Wang's responsibility. In order to attract the attention of those above me, and also to avoid being criticized less in the future, Xiao Wang also specially created a folder for him, used to collect all players' feedback on him. As long as enough people give feedback, it should attract some attention from above. In 3 days, this folder will probably be 10G. What Xiao Wang didn't know was that his prediction was still a little too conservative. The news of the dissolution of the Yuntang Guild quickly spread throughout the server. Their disbandment also confirmed the title of Aaron's live broadcast room. Him faked his death, Yuntang Guild was wiped out. Originally, the players were a little scared after seeing the scene in the live broadcast room. Although no players' bodies were seen in the live broadcast room at that time. But from the equipment scattered all over the ground and the bases bombed into ruins, we can see how tragic the battle was at that time. Moreover, it is not difficult to see that it is a completely one-sided trend. The people from the Yuntang Guild probably don't have any ability to fight back. Originally, players had a certain understanding of Him's strength, and everyone knew that he was very strong. So basically most players are afraid of his strength. But after this incident, players' fear of Him has risen to the spiritual level. Him only fought with players twice in the true sense. One is the Triumphant Guild, and the other is the Cloud-Soaring Guild. The endings of both times were eerily similar. The Triumph Guild was disbanded on the spot, and so was the Yuntang Guild. Players have also heard that the president and vice president of the Yuntang Guild have both quit the game. The Triumph Guild is fine, it's just a guild for individual players. President Xiaopo is just an ordinary person, without strategy or intelligence, he is just a chess piece of him. The dissolution of the Triumph Guild is inevitable. But Yuntang Guild is different. Yuntang Guild is one of the top 10 guilds. Most players know about Yunli's strength. He is brave, resourceful and thoughtful. He is the brain of the Yuntang Guild. Even someone like Yunli, after only one fight with him, just give up the entire guild and quit the game. Just imagine, a person who started from scratch and ran a guild successfully, and had a lot of fame and prestige, quit the game after that battle. How desperate must he have been to make such a decision? Him pushed him into such a situation that made him make such a decision. When the players thought of this, they all felt a chill. Although they didn't know what exactly happened between Yuntang Guild and him. But what they could be sure of was that Yunli must have been extremely desperate at that time. This is really outrageous. I was kicked out of the game. That's Yunli. Yunli has always been the most powerful brain of the Yuntang Guild. That's it. Zombies ate your brains. To be honest, although I'm very curious about what happened, I'm a little afraid. Every time something about him happens, it makes people think about it in detail. Rumor has it, him didn't bring any followers with him in this battle. He slaughtered more than 20,000 Yuntang people by himself. What is his current strength? Is there anyone from the Yuntang Guild who can speak out? I promise I won't laugh at you. I was a member of the Yuntang Guild half an hour ago. Him's strength. To be honest, I didn't see it clearly, but from the time he appeared to the time he slaughtered the entire guild, it probably took only 1 minute. Quote question mark 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 question mark. 1 minute. It turns out him is so fast not. I don't understand, but I'm shocked. Quote comma comma quote. When the players were discussing enthusiastically, many players from the Yuntang Guild came out to commentate. Although they didn't know what happened exactly, they knew the details of the massacre. Unlike the last Triumphant Guild, there was no strategy this time. I don't know how him found his way inside the base. Him didn't waste any time and just left after a burst of criticism. The entire battle lasted less than a minute. Because most of the players are basically the type that will kill them as soon as they see him. So I can't really explain it. But it is precisely this that shocks those players who want to know the details of the battle. Because there are no details in the battle, it is all one-sided slaughter. What on earth has he grown into? Don't you mean that if we avoid him, we will limit his development? What kind of limit is this? Killing more than 20,000 people in 1 minute. I can output tens of millions per minute, so I'm better than him. Funny. You're really fast upstairs. Players have gradually become numb to Him's strength. I felt it was okay before, just a little bit strong. After the incident with the Yuntang Guild, players once again refreshed their cognition. In the game now, it is estimated that no one will challenge Him's prestige anymore. Anyone who goes against him is a complete traitor. Guild of the Wicked Knot. The Eternal Guild headquarters. What? Say that again. Tian Heng looked at the guild leaders in shock. The senior executives were all feeling uneasy at this moment. Him is indeed not dead. The Yuntang Guild has been disbanded. Yunli and Yunfeng have both quit the game. I heard that it only took him 1 minute to kill Yuntang Guild. Boss, what should we do now? We have captured his little brother, will he come looking for us? Boss, say something. Quote. When Tian Heng heard the news, he sat down on the ground. This news was undoubtedly a bolt from the blue for him. After cheering himself up, Tianeng immediately opened Yongwei's chat box. Boss, him is not dead. What should I do now? Boss, say something. Chapter 70 Speed Up Taming him. Tianeng was also panicked at this moment. Originally, he and Yongwei had a good plan to conquer 007 and dominate the entire game. But I didn't expect that him was not dead. Moreover, him is stronger than the last time he triumphed over the guild. This is when he is not controlling the monster. Tianeng was naturally worried that him would come to him because of 007. Yongwei just received the news that him was not dead. He was always calm, but now he was a little panicked. He immediately sent a message to Kanglong. How's it going? Kanglong's reply gave Yongwei a glimmer of hope. There is progress. Tian's damage is much higher than the players. I should be able to slowly kill it. But it will take some time. After Yongwei gave the order, Kanglong tried to continue fighting the dragon using the plan given by Yongwei. I didn't expect there would be any progress. TNT can indeed cause considerable damage to the Ender Dragon. But it is slightly more difficult to implement. Players must get close to the Ender Dragon when it flies down, escape the dragon's breath, and then place TNT to ignite it. Basically, if a group of people gather together, the number of people who can accomplish this operation is very small. Maybe 1 out of 1,000 people can succeed. But the amount of blood caused by the explosion is indeed much more considerable than that caused by cutting with a sword. Once you find the pattern, it's only a matter of time to kill the Ender Dragon. Yongwei finally breathed a sigh of relief after hearing Kanglong's news. Okay. Get rid of it as soon as possible. The reason why Yongwei did not report back to Tianeng first was that he asked about Kanglong's situation first. Mainly because things like the Ender Dragon are really rare. And it seems that there is only one game world. The Ender Dragon is not like a him, it is a boss. And he is the boss who is sealed in the end of the world and rules the end of the world. Yongwei has played so many games and is quite knowledgeable about them. Generally speaking, the things dropped by dragon boss-like creatures are definitely not bad. Moreover, many dragon bosses will drop dragon eggs. Maybe this boss is the same. In general games, dragon eggs can be hatched and then raised as pets. Since this game has a taming system and a pet system. If the Ender Dragon really drops dragon eggs, there is a high chance that it can be tamed. Although him is indeed amazing. But Yongwei has also seen the power of the Ender Dragon in the video. It can be said that it is not inferior to him. In this way, even if him comes to kill them, Yongwei and the others will be able to fight back. This is Yongwei's backup plan, equivalent to a trump card. However, we will have to wait until the Ender Dragon is killed to know the result. After thinking about this, Yongwei replied to Tianeng. How's the diamond suit zombie taming going? Tianeng was also a little surprised when he saw Yongwei's message. There's still no clue. Is it still tamed? If him comes looking for it. Seeing Tianeng being so useless, Yongwei also sighed. Do you want to hear me tell you to release the diamond suit zombie? Do you think if you let him go, him won't come looking for you? You killed the wolf cub, right? What did the zombie look like when he saw the wolf cub being killed? Even if him doesn't look for you, if you release that zombie, will he still look for you? When he comes to find you with him, what are your chances of winning? Yongwei's information bombardment instantly woke Tianeng up. What Yongwei said does make sense. Tianeng is now in a difficult situation. If a diamond-suited zombie is released, he will definitely retaliate, and may even come with him to retaliate. After all, the diamond zombies know the location of the Eternal Guild's headquarters. By then, Tianeng will really have no chance of winning. Eternal Glory will definitely not support them. If you don't let go, there is still a chance of survival. This diamond zombie has been here for so long, but him hasn't found it yet. Maybe they don't have a direct way to communicate. Therefore, it is definitely a safer choice not to let go at the moment. After Tianeng figured it out, he replied to Yongwei again. So, should we continue to tame diamond suit zombies now? Seeing that Tianeng understood, Yongwei told him his plan. Of course. Speed up the process and tame him. I have a backup plan here, don't worry. If you can really deal with this zombie, and with my backup plan. Even if him really comes looking for us, there's no need to worry too much. At worst, you can just use the diamond zombie as a hostage. Yonghui's idea is that if Kanglong really kills the Ender Dragon and the dragon egg drops, it can be hatched. Then they have a powerful pet. Next, Yonghui probably guessed that 007 and HIM are the kind of beings who need to kill players to become stronger. If 007 can be successfully persuaded to defect, Yonghui can directly send the player to 007. The Eternal Guild has more than 20,000 players, and if they are killed by 007 every day, the growth rate must be astonishing. Maybe he can even surpass him. If Tian Heng can successfully persuade 007 to rebel, and feed him for a while, 07's combat power plus the Ender Dragon's combat power should still be able to fight him. Of course, the prerequisite for starting a war is that him takes the initiative to come. If him hadn't come to him, Yonghui would naturally be happier. After seeing the news about Yonghui, Tianeng felt a little more confident. He also immediately came to the obsidian cage where 007 was imprisoned. I saw a player pouring a bucket of lava directly into the obsidian cage. The magma poured down 07's head. Its body immediately caught fire. Although he couldn't feel the pain, he could feel his life slipping away. Roar. The player brainwashed 007 while watching him being roasted by the lava. If you don't accept my toast, I'll punish you. I told you your master is dead. From now on, obey us and you will be free. You can eat meat, kill players, and raise wolves as you like. Seeing that 07's health was almost running out, another player immediately poured a bucket of water into the obsidian cage and put out the fire. Then he waited quietly for 07's health to recover. Then continued to cycle the previous actions. The two players' operation was very skillful, and they should have tortured 007 like this for a long time. At this moment, the diamond suit on 007 has disappeared. It seems that the durability of the equipment has been reduced due to the long lava bath. His skin was all burned to charcoal black, but strangely, his skin was well preserved and was not burned. Even stranger was the fact that a black collar tied around his wrist had never been burned. Seeing the player's behavior, Tian Heng shook his head. It seems that simple torture has no effect on 007. After all, he is a zombie and should have no sense of pain. Tian Heng looked at 07's wrist, thought for a moment, and immediately came up with an idea. Then he instructed the player next to him. Try to tame some wolf cubs. Remember, dye all their collars black. Then put the wolf cub in and attack it. Tianeng also saw through 07's thoughts. Small bugs are undoubtedly very important to 007. So if you want to tame 007, you must work on this point. Tian Heng also deliberately asked players to find the wolf with a black collar in order to stimulate 007. If it doesn't attack the wolf will kill him. If he wants to survive, he has to kill the wolf that enters the cage. But the wolf in the cage looks so much like the little bug, or rather, it's exactly the same. Once this happens, he will think of how little bug died again and again. Over time, his spirit will collapse. Then will be the best time to brainwash. Check out our playlist for more amazing novels. Chapter 71. This scene looks like a big explosion. I have to say that Tianeng really knows how to brainwash. He will first torture you until you have a mental breakdown, and then when you are unconscious he will instill the thoughts he wants in you. In this kind of mentally ill situation, there is indeed a chance of successful brainwashing. However, this method only applies to thinking creatures. If 007 was just an ordinary zombie, no matter how much Tian Heng brainwashed him, it would be useless. Unless the data is tampered with. But 007 happens to be a thinking being, so this method might actually work. After hearing Tianeng's words, the players immediately began to implement them. Although no wolf cubs have been found near the Eternal Guild, it is actually not difficult to get one. The Eternal Guild has the strength. If they ask other guilds for two, and train them for a while, they will soon have a large group. Although the speed of breeding animals in the game is not as fast as in the original MC, a wolf cub can basically be bred in 1 hour. But this speed is enough. Less than 6 hours had passed since Tianeng's order was issued. There were already a dozen wolf cubs in the guild. The wolf cub also immediately began to stand by and work. At this moment, inside the obsidian cage, the wolf cub wearing a black collar entered the cage. 007, who had been slumped in the corner of the cage, immediately stood up. Seeing the wolf cub wearing a black collar in front of him, 007 seemed to be touched and let out a few whimpers from his throat. Roar. Monsters have their own ways of identifying each other. Although the wolf in front of him wearing a black collar looks exactly like the little bug. But 007 knew very well that it was not a minor bug. Although he knew this clearly, the appearance of the wolf cub in front of him reminded him again of the way Little Bug fell into his arms. The blood of Little Bug flowing in his hand, the touch of Little Bug's tongue touching his cheek for the last time. Little Bug wagged his tail as hard as he could. And the last temperature slowly disappears. He naturally also remembered how he felt when he swallowed the little bug. The smell of blood, the pain in his left chest that was about to explode, and the heavy feeling of the small bug in his stomach. He might forget many things in his life, but this is something he will never forget. Roar, roar. He kept roaring miserably, but the sound sounded like crying. Just when 007 was filled with grief and anger, the wolf with a black collar in front of him rushed over and bit 07's leg. 07's health also dropped a little with this bite. Roar. 007 subconsciously prepared to resist, but dropped his raised hand in midair. There were many emotions in his eyes. There is anger, sadness, and more importantly, reluctance. Even though he knew that the wolf in front of him was not a small bug, even though the wolf attacked him. But he still couldn't bear it. He knew that the little bug was gone and he would never encounter another little bug again. But he didn't want the wolf in front of him, who looked exactly like Little Bug, to die. Because he didn't want to experience that heart-wrenching pain again and again. The wolf with the black collar never stopped attacking 007, but 007 never fought back. He kept dodging its attacks. But the cage is so small, where can he hide? With the wolf cub's attack again and again, 07's blood volume is getting lower and lower. After a while, 07's health was reduced to a trace. If the wolf cub attacks again, 007 will die immediately. At this moment, the player who was controlling the wolf cub outside the cage was also a little surprised after seeing this scene. You're not fighting back. The wolf cub's attack is controlled by the player. With Tianung's order, the player will definitely not let the wolf cub really kill 007. This time it is also to test whether Tianung's method is effective. Just when the players were worried, 007 finally took action. He seemed to have done a lot of psychological preparation and finally made up his mind. Roar. After a fierce roar, he waved his hand and killed the wolf cub. Killing the wolf cub seemed to have exhausted all the strength in 07's body. Seeing the wolf cub collapse to the ground, 007 also collapsed to the ground. He looked at the wolf cub's body and gasped. The originally dark eyes were tinged with a hint of red. At this moment, he was suffering from great torment in his heart. He had to keep his life because his master had told him so. Stay alive and come see me. The owner also told him to take good care of the wolf cub and return it to him later. He can no longer do this. So he wanted to keep his life and go back to atone for his sins. Even if I suffer torture, I must keep this life to atone my sins. Done. When the players outside the cage saw 07's extremely painful expression after killing the wolf cub, they immediately reported the news to Tianheng. Tianung also immediately asked the players to continue implementing it. Players did not dare to neglect after receiving the order. Then he put another wolf cub with a black collar in. The end. Hurry. Try harder. The Ender Dragon is running out of health. Where's the TNT? Hurry up and get some more TNT. Don't use TNT anymore. Charge forward, even if you have to use your bare hands, you must defeat it. Quote. Look at this Ender Dragon, it only has a little health left. Kanglong was so excited that he was almost speechless. It has been 2F****** G days since they discovered the Ender Dragon. And it wasn't just 2 days in the game, it was 2 days in reality. That's 48 hours. More than 20,000 players from the Glorious Guild fought the Ender Dragon for 48 hours. Fortunately, their efforts were not in vain. Finally, we have to chew this tough bone. At this moment, the players are as excited as if they had been injected with chicken blood. You have to know that they haven't slept much in the past 2 days, and they go online every day to fight dragons. They were all about to vomit, but it was finally over. Damn it. Let's fight. Hurry, hurry, hurry. He's been manipulated, hack him to death. Damn, this is so hard to beat. It would be unreasonable if you don't explode. Ah, I'm so excited. I'm about to slay the dragon. There will definitely be a lot of good stuff. Quote. As the players swung their weapons with all their might, the Ender Dragon's health finally reached the bottom. I saw its body slowly floating into the air. There seems to be some huge energy inside its body. Rays of purple light were bursting out from its disintegrating body. Then the whole body began to slowly dissipate and disintegrate. Then the whole thing exploded. Bright white light shot out in all directions. The Ender Dragon in the sky was like a brilliant firework, ending its life in such an explosive way. In MC, the Ender Dragon is the final boss, and its death effects are very impressive. And in this holographic mode game, it is even more gorgeous. The whole feeling was a big shock. There is an atmosphere of the fall of a generation of overlords. The players of the Brilliant Guild were stunned upon seeing this. Wow, this death effect is too awesome. Hiss. Looking at this card, it feels like we have really managed to get something incredible. Ah, this scene looks like a huge explosion. Rub my hands, I'm ready to pick up the equipment. Chapter 72. Could this thing be Dragon Crystal? Following the explosion of the Ender Dragon's corpse, there was a burst of brilliant fireworks. Then I saw green balls of various sizes falling from the sky. Because the distance was quite far, the players couldn't see clearly what it was. But I feel that the green ball that fell down has an inexplicable sense of familiarity. What is this? Why does it look so familiar? Is this what the Ender Dragon dropped? So many. What the hell? Green balls all over the sky. Could this be Dragon Crystal? Does your Dragon Crystal look like this? Quote. Although some players couldn't see clearly what the dropped objects falling from the sky were. But they are still looking forward to it. Judging from the number of green balls, the Ender Dragon must have exploded. If this green ball is really something extraordinary, then the Glorious Guild will definitely become prosperous. The players looked up, quietly waiting for the green ball from the sky to slowly float down. After a while, the first green ball finally fell to the ground. Seeing this, Kanglong was the first to run up. After approaching the falling green ball, the green ball was immediately absorbed into Kanglong's body. The experience bar below also rose accordingly. Quote. What the hell? When Kanglong saw this, he was completely stunned. Just as Kanglong was stunned, more green balls fell on the ground and on the players. When they realized that the green ball was actually an experience ball, they were all dumbfounded. Quote. This is just some experience balls. This is definitely a bug. This is definitely a bug. This is the Ender Dragon. The Lord of the End. This is what exploded. High EQ, Ender Dragon, Lord of the End, low EQ, experience baby. It really made me laugh. Is this reasonable? Quote. The players of the Kanglong Guild had been clearing the land for 48 hours, and they originally thought that the Ender Dragon would explode. I didn't expect it to be such a big explosion, with so much swearing. It took Kanglong a long time to come back to his senses. Seeing the experience balls all over the ground, he was so angry that he almost exploded. But he still didn't give up. He didn't believe that the Ender Dragon would just give him some experience. Find it. Find it for me. Damn it, there must be something else. Find them all. Everyone in the Brilliant Guild had the same idea as Kanglong. Before Kanglong issued the order, they started looking in advance. Not long after, they actually made a discovery. Boss, found it. It's a dragon egg. Hearing the player's words, Kanglong immediately came over. Sure enough, a black dragon egg was found lying on the end stone. Seeing this, Kanglong's heart beat faster. He immediately came forward and shook it. The dragon egg was immediately absorbed into the backpack. The settings of the dragon egg have been changed a little here. Ender Dragon Egg can hatch an Ender Dragon, and the hatched Ender Dragon is tamed. When Kanglong saw the annotation of the Ender Dragon Egg, his heart beat faster. Nice one. Kanglong immediately told Yongwei the good news. Yongwei was also very excited after receiving Kanglong's news. Good. It's just as I expected. Now we just have to wait for good news from Tianan. After Xu Yuan slaughtered the Yuntang Guild's headquarters, he went to the Netherworld and demolished the Wither Skeleton spawning tower. Then the execution device of the Wither Skeleton tower was moved to the Zombie Piglin tower. After Xu Yuan finished doing all this, he turned on the taming system and kept observing O7's vital signs. The monster's health can be observed in the taming system. At the beginning, O7's health was always stable and there was no problem. But recently, things started to go wrong. Recently, O7's health has been dropping to a very low level, and then slowly recovering. Then his health dropped to a very low level, and then slowly came back up. This cycle repeats itself over and over again. Xu Yuan also quickly realized that something was wrong. This change in blood volume is so weird. In fact, when O7's health was almost running out for the first time, Xu Yuan was really panicked. Because long before Xu Yuan decided to fake his death, he had anticipated that 007 might experience a hardship because of his decision. When Xu Yuan saw 007 was at the bottom of his health for the first time, he immediately set out to find 007. Although Xu Yuan learned from the Yuntang Guild that 007 was lurking near the Eternal Guild. But Xu Yuan didn't know the location of the Eternal Guild's headquarters. So these days Xu Yuan has been searching on the map, trying to find the players and then force them to tell him the location of the Eternal Guild. But after searching for a long time, there was still no trace of the players. Fortunately, 07's health did not reach the bottom, but slowly recovered. Xu Yuan also breathed a sigh of relief, which meant that 007 had survived. But before Xu Yuan could completely relax, 07's health started to slowly decrease again. From then on, the cycle began to repeat itself. This is obviously a problem. And the problem must be with the Eternal Guild. The first words that came to Xu Yuan's mind were, torture. 007 is a thoughtful person, he would not put himself in danger again and again. The reason why his blood volume changed so much must have been caused intentionally. Moreover, the wolf that Xu Yuan gave to 007 was also very brave in the battle against the Triumph Guild. Although there was suspicion of stealing heads, more than 10 players were still killed. It has also awakened its primary consciousness, and Xu Yuan can also see it in the taming list. Just before 07's health changed, it died. With all these things happening before our eyes, it is hard not to suspect that this was done by the Eternal Guild. Xu Yuan didn't know why the people from the Eternal Guild did this, but Xu Yuan absolutely could not forgive their behavior. After all, this matter was caused by Xu Yuan, and he will definitely not sit idly by. While thinking, Xu Yuan searched for the players' traces on the map. Fortunately, hard work pays off after several hours of searching. Xu Yuan finally found the player. On the endless snowfield, several players were chatting and fishing by the lake. Should we join a guild when the time comes? Otherwise it feels like development is too slow. The development of the guild is fast, but if him finds us, we will have to start from scratch. That's true. Hearing what his friends said, Tian Li nodded in agreement. It has its pros and cons. Although adding a guild target will make the development faster, the target is large and can be easily discovered by him. Although not adding it will slow down the development, at least him will not be found. Before Tian Li could finish his words, he froze in place. Chapter 73 Evolution of Advanced Consciousness. Him what? Have you finished talking? I was talking halfway when my wife was, why don't you say something? The friends all had their backs to Tian Li, and they didn't look up to see Tian Li's expression. So I don't know why Tian Li suddenly stopped. When Tian Li saw him suddenly appear next to his friends, his brain froze. After a moment, he finally came to his senses and screamed. Tian Li's scream immediately scared his friends. FK. Are you crazy? What are you yelling about? Are you stupid? You're fishing. Be careful not to disturb the nest. Ouch. My fish has taken the bait, but you scared it away. After all the friends complained for a while, they saw Tian Li standing there as if he was scared silly. Everyone also noticed the problem. Only then did they turn around and look behind them. I saw a person with eyes emitting blazing white light hanging in the air behind me. When all the friends saw this, they finally understood why Tian Li was acting so abnormally. This was the first time that Tian Li and his friends saw the real person. I had seen it on the forum before, but the photos and videos about him on the forum were all covered with a layer of mosaics. Before, Tian Li and the others didn't quite understand, but those players who had come into contact with him all looked scared to death. At this moment, they finally understood. The real person and the photos and videos are simply not on the same level. Him just stood there without saying a word, but the aura around him was enough to make people feel suffocated and oppressed. Tian Li and everyone else didn't dare to move at this moment. They knew very well that resistance was futile and there was no way to escape. When him comes, there is only one way out for them, death. After thinking about this, all the friends had expressions that showed they were ready to die. But as fishermen, they still miss the fish they caught. Can we discuss this and not use the explosive skill? It would be bad if it startles the nest. I'll give you this life, but can you let me put the fish I caught in the box first? After hearing what his friends said, Tianli was dumbfounded. These friends are fishermen in real life, and they still like fishing in the game. But he never expected that when they were about to die, they were actually considering asking him not to use the explosion skill to kill them. The reason was to not scare the nest. At this moment, Xu Yuan almost couldn't help laughing when he heard what Tianli and his group said. Fishermen are really awesome people. In their eyes, nothing is more terrifying than being startled. But Xu Yuan is not planning to kill them for the time being. The monster tower I made before gave more kill values per second than these ones. This is nothing but a mosquito leg. There is something more important than killing them, which is to find out where the Eternal Guild is headquartered. Tianli and his group were confused when they saw him looking down at them. Just then, him finally spoke. Where is the Eternal Guild? Although the question was a question, him's posture and voice made Tianli and others feel that he was giving an order. When they heard him speak, Tianli and the others were all stunned. Ah, aren't you going to kill us? Did I hear you right? Him is here to ask for directions. Quote. Tianli and the others were all unable to react to him's actions. They were in a daze, and saw him frowning, obviously looking impatient. When Tianli and his men saw this, their frozen brains instantly resumed functioning. Don't do it, we can discuss everything. Well, we don't know. The Eternal Guild is a large guild, and the guild's location is generally not disclosed casually. We, the independent players, really don't know. How about we post a message to ask for you? Tianli and his group naturally don't want to die. Now their only hope of survival is to reveal the location of the Eternal Guild's headquarters. But unfortunately, these powerless individuals would definitely not know the location of the Eternal Guild's headquarters. Seeing this, Xu Yuan didn't waste any more time with them and directly threw a fireball at the crowd. The fireball exploded immediately after it hit the ground. He killed Tianli and his men instantly with one strike, and then set out on a journey to find the next batch of players. Since there would be no result from the question, Xu Yuan would not waste time. Tianli and the others probably weren't lying. A group of individual players certainly wouldn't intentionally help the Eternal Guild conceal their location. While Xu Yuan continued to look for players, he opened the taming system again. When he saw 07's condition, he was stunned. Evolved into a higher consciousness. Xu Yuan was also a little surprised. 007 was obviously trapped, but he evolved into a higher consciousness. Did he escape? Upon seeing this, Xu Yuan immediately began to observe 07's health status. After observing for a while, I became even more confused. 07's health condition remains the same as before, cycling from low health to full health over and over again. This also proves that he should not have escaped. Forget it, once we find it, everything will be clear. Xu Yuan didn't think about it anymore. He would find 007 no matter what. Then you will understand what is going on. The Eternal Guild headquarters. Next to the obsidian cage, two players were discussing. I remember this zombie had black eyes before. Now they've turned red. Is it pink eye? You look like a pink eye to me, it's obvious that you've been driven crazy. Okay, then our mission is complete. Well, you go report to the president. I'm going to take a nap. Damn, I'm so tired. After Tianeng discovered that wolf cubs could stimulate 007, players began to put wolf cubs into cages. According to the frequency of players' deployment, there are at least 700 or 800 wolf cubs who died at the hands of 007, if not 1,000. What they don't know is that the wolf cubs tamed by the players can also be counted in the number of players killed by 007. If the player counts 1 kill, the wolf cub counts 0.5. 007 was only a few hundred kills away from evolving into a higher consciousness. It was also because of the feeding from the Eternal Guild that 007 was able to evolve directly to a higher level of consciousness. As soon as 007 evolved into a higher level of consciousness, he felt two forces surging and colliding in his body. Although he could feel that these were two very powerful forces, he didn't know how to use them. As 007 was thinking, the head of a player with the ID Peng Peng suddenly popped out from the window of the cage. Hello. Shish, don't make any noise, I finally found a chance to sneak over here. I have something to tell you. Chapter 74. Your order is to swear allegiance to us till death. Ever since Little Bug's identity as a spy was exposed, Peng Peng's status has plummeted. Although Peng Peng was not considered a high-level member before, he could be considered an old player of the Eternal Guild. The welfare benefits provided by the guild are quite good. But after the minor bug incident, although the guild did not ask Peng Peng to quit the guild, it still gave Peng Peng some punishment. From then on, Peng Peng directly became the lowest level player. Every day I am responsible for logistical work such as planting crops and feeding livestock. Things like going out to open up new land and getting a pedicure are never Peng Peng's turn. That would be fine, the main thing is that Peng Peng can't stand the sarcasm and ridicule from those players. This happened so long ago, but there are still many players who are holding on to it. It's a harsh statement, they just lost some equipment. That is, it is an iron set, not a diamond set. With the pedicure shed and going down to the mine, a set of iron sets was quickly put together. Why do you have to be so persistent? Faced with the players' relentless sarcasm and deliberate provocations every day, the top management saw it but pretended not to see it, which was tantamount to approving the players' bullying of Peng Peng. The players who bullied Peng Peng became even more arrogant, and gradually the players began to distance themselves from Peng Peng. This is clearly blatant bullying, right? Peng Peng didn't expect that he would be bullied for playing a crappy game. Peng Peng won't stand this. It's better not to stay in this crappy guild. Peng Peng had wanted to quit the guild a long time ago, but he had never taken action. The main reason is that I have suffered so much. If I just quit like this, wouldn't it be a waste of my grievances? In order to make those people in the guild get retribution, Peng Peng thought of 007 first. In a sense, he and 007 are destined to be together. They are all related to small bugs. Peng Peng knows everything Tianeng did to 007. Even the task of breeding black-collared wolves was Peng Peng's responsibility. Peng Peng also used to have a dog. The dog he had raised for 7 years got lost when he was out one day. When he found it again, it had been skinned and bled by the dog meat vendor and hung on the dog head stall. All these years have passed, but Peng Peng still remembers that scene, and he has never dared to keep another one. But after entering the game, a small bug brought him out of the shadows. Unexpectedly, the previous tragedy happened again to Little Bug. It is precisely because of these reasons that Peng Peng really can't stand Tianeng's abnormal behavior. He can't take the dog dealer, what about the owner of the dog meat stall? But in the game, he could no longer tolerate Tianeng's behavior. He must be punished. This can be considered as revenge for my dog. And the little bug. After Peng Peng had this idea, he has been secretly paying attention to the developments in the cage. As soon as he got the chance, Peng Peng slipped in immediately. 007 was also stunned when he saw the head suddenly sticking out. 007 was still on guard at first, but the moment the head came closer. However, he could sense the lingering trace of a small bug in this player. Obviously, after Little Bug entered the Eternal Guild, he should have had the most contact with this person. 007 also cannot judge whether the person in front of him is good or bad. But the strange thing at this moment was that he had no defense against this person at all. Although it was the first time I met Peng Peng, I felt an inexplicable sense of familiarity. Seeing this, 007 also sat down quietly. Roar, say. As soon as 007 finished speaking, he was shocked himself. He didn't expect that he could actually express himself, although what he said was still a little vague. Peng Peng was also shocked when he heard this. But he quickly recovered. After all, he was HIM's younger brother. Him can talk, so it's no big deal if 007 can talk. After thinking about this, Peng Peng slowly sat down and started chatting with 007. I'm Little BU, that is, your wolf's master in the base. I named it Little Bug. I hope you don't mind. Peng Peng didn't know how to describe his identity to 007. After saying this, Peng Peng looked at 007, fearing that he might be unhappy. When he saw that there was no expression on his face, he finally felt relieved. I know everything they did to Little Bug before. But there was nothing I could do. There was nothing I could do. At this point, 007 could clearly feel Peng Peng's inner self-blame. This also shows that Peng Peng's feelings for Xiaobug are real. And 007 had also learned about Peng Peng from Little Bug before. Little Bug still likes Peng Peng very much and doesn't want to hurt him. For this reason, 007 also gave Little Bug a scolding, so that it would not forget its mission. Peng Peng saw that 007 was listening attentively, so he continued. I really can't stand seeing them using small bugs to torture you mentally. But there's still very little I can do. I can only come here to give you some advice. After hearing this, 007 nodded at Peng Peng, motioning him to continue. The most advantageous method for you at the moment is actually for you to give in. They treat you like this just to tame you and make you work for them. Why don't you just take advantage of their trick, just like you sent the little bug to lurk in the first place? The most important thing for you now is to dispel their guard. Once you get out of the cage and become strong enough, you can fight back. What Peng Peng said makes a lot of sense. This is indeed the best solution for 007 to escape from here and take revenge successfully. Just like when he sent Little Bug into the Eternal Guild, only by making the people of the Eternal Guild believe that he had been tamed could he give them a fatal blow at the best moment. Otherwise, the Eternal Guild will continue to use small bugs to torture 007, and 007 will never be able to escape from this obsidian cage. After hearing what Peng Peng said, 007 was thoughtful. He really hadn't thought of what Peng Peng said before. After repeated consideration, Peng Peng's plan is indeed feasible. Good. 007 was sure that Peng Peng had no ill intentions, so he was prepared to accept the advice given by Peng Peng. Peng Peng was so happy to see that 007 agreed. By the way, don't listen to them. Your master, that's what we all call him. He's not dead. I'll find a way to let him know you're here. Peng Peng was also afraid that 007 would be brainwashed by the players of the Eternal Guild and believe that him was dead. That's why I told 007 the news. 007 was not surprised to hear the news, even though the people from the Eternal Guild had told him thousands of times that him was dead. But 007 didn't believe it because he could feel that his master was still alive. Peng Peng had just finished speaking when he heard some noise outside. I'm leaving first. Take care of yourself. After saying that, Peng Peng dug 3 steps downwards and filled 1 step back and hid himself. Just as Peng Peng hid himself, Tianung's voice came from above his head. Already crazy. The dozing player heard Tianung's voice and stood up with a start. Yes, President. Look, his eyes are all red. After hearing the player's words, Tian Heng looked inside the cage. At this moment, 007 seemed to be crazy, G his head against the wall. Tian Heng was also very satisfied when he saw this. Then the next step is to start brainwashing. Tell him that we are his masters, and his orders are to obey our instructions and swear allegiance to us until death. Chapter 75. It's not that I don't want to take revenge, it's just that the time has not come yet. After Tianung gave orders to the players, he immediately told Yongwei about the progress of 07's taming. Yongwei was naturally happy to hear the news. This is God's help to my eternal glory. Not long after Yongwei received the news from Kanglong, he received the news from Tianung. Progress on both sides was smooth. Yongwei has already made arrangements for the Ender Dragon eggs, asking Kanglong and the others to find a way to hatch them as soon as possible. Yongwei also immediately gave suggestions on Tianung's side. It should be tamed in no time. After taming it, arrange more players for it to kill. According to my guess, both he and him need to kill players to become stronger. With more than 20,000 of you taking turns delivering several times a day, his development will probably not be much slower than him. After the incident with the Yuntang Guild, Yongwei has been keeping an eye on HIM's movements. At present, him probably hasn't found the next batch of players yet. Therefore, as long as 007 is fed properly, his strength should catch up soon. Even if he can't defeat him, there is still the Ender Dragon of the Glorious Guild to back him up. The Ender Dragon is still very powerful, so this 2-on-1 fight should be no problem. After Peng Peng dug 3 parts and filled 1 part, he began to dig slowly underground. He immediately found the tunnel he had dug when he came here, and then returned to his post without anyone noticing. After arriving at his post, Peng Peng immediately opened the forum. Start searching for posts about him. The promise I made to 007 was not just a casual remark. Peng Peng had seen 07's strength before, and it was definitely not as good as him's. Therefore, if you want revenge to be successful, it will be safer if him comes. Peng Peng has also watched Steve's live broadcast before, so he knows that it is currently difficult for him to find players. Furthermore, the location of the Eternal Guild's headquarters is only known to insiders and a few guild leaders. So Peng Peng must spread this news. After searching the word him, more than 1,000 pages of posts immediately came out. This is enough to show how popular him is. Seeing this, Peng Peng immediately sorted them according to the latest release time. Surprised, him actually asked me for directions. Closing square bracket. Does anyone know where the Eternal Guild is based? I'm asking for him. Can you believe this? Him turned over my card. And he even asked me for information. Closing square bracket. When Peng Peng saw the titles of these posts, he immediately clicked on them. The content of the posts is surprisingly consistent. Basically, him would suddenly appear beside them or behind them and ask them about the location of the Eternal Guild's headquarters. They all said they didn't know and were then killed. After seeing these posts, Peng Peng's heart beat faster. There's a chance. It was only after seeing the post that Peng Peng realized that him was also looking for 007. This is much easier. Peng Peng only needs to reveal the specific location of the Eternal Guild under these posts, and then find a way to increase the popularity of this post. In this way, more people will know the location of the Eternal Guild's headquarters. And him is obviously looking for players to ask for directions. If he happened to meet someone who had read the post, maybe the player would tell him the address of the Eternal Guild. After thinking about this, Peng Peng immediately began to implement his plan. He was not stupid either. He first made his ID anonymous before replying to those posts. Although if the people from the Eternal Guild wanted to investigate, they would still be able to find out that it was Peng Peng who did it. But by then, him would probably have found him. By that time, none of this will matter. After Peng Peng's operation for several hours, the popularity of those posts finally increased. In addition, more and more people are discovering him. I believe that him will be able to get the address of the Eternal Guild's headquarters soon. Seeing this, Peng Peng finally laughed. It's not that I don't want to report it, but the time has not come yet. Little bug. Just wait a moment, I will help you get revenge right away. Time flies, and 2 days have passed in the blink of an eye. 8 days and nights passed in the game. At this moment, Tianeng Guild Square. 007 was seen standing in the center of the square, while the players of Tianeng Guild took off their equipment one by one and lined up in front of 007 to die. In order to help 007 fight faster, Tianheng even gave him an iron sword. Allows him to perform ranged attacks. He really is, I'm crying. Although this time, like last time, it was self-feeding. But at this time, the players' faces were all filled with smiles. Kill more, and try to overtake him. Don't be soft-hearted, big brother zombie. Do you see my head? Smash it here. Hey, why don't you just give in earlier? Life would be so comfortable now. There are all these young handsome guys coming to your doorstep. Quote. Peng Peng, who was feeding pigs nearby, saw this scene and his hand holding Hu Luobei couldn't help but tremble. The whole plan is going perfectly. Now we just have to wait for good news from him. Xu Yuan never gave up looking for 007, even though he noticed these days that 07's health was no longer the same as before. But he still didn't relax. At this moment, no matter what situation 007 is in, Xu Yuan wants to find out. Because 007 not only awakened a higher level of consciousness, but also continuously provided himself with kill points. It's like this every day. Up to now, after 007 broke through the advanced consciousness, in such a short time, the number of players he killed has reached more than 40,000. This number is a bit wrong. These days, Xu Yuan has also learned something about the Eternal Guild. They are now a level 2 guild. There are only more than 20,000 people. Even if 007 escaped and massacred them all, the maximum number of kills he could achieve would be only over 20,000. But 007 killed so many in such a short time without losing any blood at all. This made Xu Yuan suspicious. Isn't he being instigated to rebel? When Xu Yuan thought of this, a figure immediately emerged in his mind, that is, the Drowned King. But when I think about it, it seems a little impossible. Although Xu Yuan had felt that 007 gave people a very familiar feeling before, it was definitely not the Drowned King. He has nothing in his personality like the Drowned King. 007 is very calm and he is also very loyal. This is why Xu Yuan began to become curious about what 007 had experienced. I guess he must have had a wonderful time these days. After thinking about this, Xu Yuan also stepped up his search. On the endless grassland, several players were discussing the recent content in the forum. It seems like him is causing trouble for Yongwei Guild recently. Yeah, I heard from the grapevine that the Eternal Guild has instigated him to rebel. What the hell? Which one? The diamond suit zombie. Yeah, I heard they are training that zombie. That zombie seems very strong. What's the point of inciting rebellion? With him's strength, he can kill more than 20,000 people in Yuntang in 1 minute. The players were chatting, when suddenly one of them saw a figure floating in the sky in the distance. The players recognized him immediately. What the hell? That's him. After they found him, they immediately began to take off their equipment, dug a deep pit, put down the box, and put the equipment in. Then he shouted at him. Hello. Him. Can you hear me? Him. The location of Yongwei Guild's headquarters is 2417, 35, 1140. I heard that your little brother was recruited. Go and save him. Well, we'll take the risk of telling you this location. Would you consider taking us in as your subordinates? Subscribe to Chinese Novel Audiobook YouTube channel. Chapter 76 Him Found Us. This group of players are individual players, and they are just there to watch the fun and not mind getting involved. That's why I was so excited after seeing him. They also learned from the post that him had been looking for the Eternal Guild recently. Although there is an anonymous player commenting a coordinate under each post. But the players don't know the authenticity of the coordinates. But no matter what, they still passed this information to him with the mentality of giving it a try. Him turned around and glanced at the group of players. The players were ready to die at any time, but they didn't expect that him just looked at them deeply. The next second, he disappeared from the spot. What the hell? Why did he suddenly disappear? Is he planning a sneak attack? Wake up, how strong are you that you need him to launch a sneak attack? He should be going to that coordinate. Looks like there's going to be something interesting to watch. Even if there's a good show, we probably won't be able to see it, right? The Eternal Guild won't broadcast it live, right? Hurry up and post. We are the only lucky ones who encountered him and didn't get killed. Tianeng worked hard to train 007 for many days. Although there has been no qualitative change in 07's strength, it has improved a lot compared to before. However, these strengths are mainly reflected in the physical body. 07's physical fitness is much better than before, and his entire physique is much stronger than before. The blood volume also increased dramatically. The wolf cub was able to bite him before, but now the wolf cub's attack was just like a tickle to him. During this period, Tianeng also sent players to test his attacks. A player holding an iron sword can only do a few points of damage to him. Although 007 no longer has the diamond suit at this moment, his body has become strong enough to become the diamond suit. And 07's ability to control monsters has also been greatly enhanced. The number of monsters he can now control has reached more than 1,000. And he is also able to tame those monsters. Although Tianeng was quite satisfied with the result, he was still a little puzzled. Why didn't it evolve into any skills? You know, him has a lot of skills. Explosions, teleportation, stealth, throwing potions, and more. Apart from the enhancement of his physical body and his own strength, 007 has not evolved any skills from beginning to end. This is also a point that Tianeng is more worried about. Without skills, no matter how strong your body is, you will be manipulated by him. Seeing this, Tianeng had no choice but to increase the feeding efficiency. I just hope 007 can evolve his skills soon. Tianheng was thinking about this when his thoughts were interrupted by a player who hurriedly ran into the room. Boss. Oh no. On the forum, many people on the forum are saying that him is asking around for the location of our guild. When Tianheng heard the player's words, he jumped up immediately. What? As soon as he stood up, Tianheng seemed to have thought of something and sat down again with a sigh of relief. Tianeng was indeed worried that him would come looking for him. But after hearing the news, I felt relieved. Tianheng originally thought that him and 007 would have some bond, but he didn't expect that he was overthinking. Since him is asking around about the guild's location, it means he doesn't know where 007 is. After thinking about this, Tianeng's emotions gradually calmed down. Why are you panicking? Let him look for it. No one knows where our guild headquarters is. After Tianheng finished speaking, he prepared to send the players away. The player's words hit Tianeng on the head like a bolt from the blue. Someone anonymously posted the location of our guild headquarters. What? Tianeng's butt hadn't even warmed up yet when it bounced up again. After hearing this, Tianeng immediately opened the forum. At this moment, Tianheng didn't even need to search the forum specifically. As soon as he opened it, all he saw were posts about him looking for the location of the Eternal Guild. Click on any one of them and you can see the coordinates of the guild posted by an anonymous player pinned to the top of the comments. The more Tianeng read these posts, the more panicked he became. Although he knew that him would not hack into the network, he was able to get information from the players. In order to save their lives, those individual players will definitely tell the coordinates of the guild headquarters. When Tianeng thought of this, he became extremely panicked. I immediately sent a message to Yongwei. Boss. Him is looking for the location of our guild. At this moment, Yongwei is at the headquarters of the Brilliant Guild. After Kanglong said that he had harvested the dragon eggs, Yongwei brought a group of people and rushed to the headquarters of the Brilliant Guild. Although the Eternal and Glorious Guilds both have powerful weapons. But it is obvious that Yongwei is more interested in the Ender Dragon. During the days he was here, he also helped Kanglong a lot. After getting the Ender Dragon egg, Kanglong didn't know how to hatch it. It was Yongwei who provided the solution of placing it on the lava, which allowed the Ender Dragon egg to be hatched. The Ender Dragon is still in its infancy at this moment, but its size is already as big as an adult cow. It's just that the appetite is too big. The people of the Kanglong Guild prepare a lot of animal steaks every day to feed the baby Ender Dragon. However, the Kanglong Guild can still afford it. Yongwei has also been paying attention to the growth of the Ender Dragon. Although the Ender Dragon is still in its infancy, its scales have gradually begun to harden. Yongwei also asked someone to conduct experiments. Even for a young Ender Dragon, bows and arrows cannot break its defense. It's just a little bit weak against close-range attacks. However, Yongwei is not worried about this problem at all. He just needs to wait until it grows up. Next, Yongwei also experimented with letting other monsters attack the Ender Dragon. The experimental results gave Yongwei some peace of mind. Even if the Ender Dragon is still in its infancy, other monsters cannot hurt it at all. Although the Ender Dragon is very powerful, Yongwei still has some doubts in his heart. Although monsters cannot hurt the Ender Dragon, Yongwei is still not sure whether him can hurt it. Logically speaking, him should also be considered a monster. Yongwei naturally couldn't use him for experiments, so he focused his attention on 007. In a sense, 007 and him belong to the same type of monster. 007 can't hurt the Ender Dragon at all. Then him probably can't do it either, so this battle is a sure thing. After thinking about this, he immediately replied to Tian Hengdao. Why are you panicking? Didn't I tell you I have a trump card? How strong are the zombies now? Tian Heng responded immediately after receiving the message. Except for the fact that he hasn't evolved any skills, his body and strength are already very strong. Boss, what's your trump card? The guild's location has been exposed. Him might come to find us soon. Tianeng was also very anxious. Yongwei had always said that he had a trump card but he never told him what it was. After seeing Tianeng's reply, Yongwei thought for a while and said to Kanglong beside him. Gather everyone and follow me to the Eternal Guild. It looks like a big battle is about to begin. Will Chapter 77 be live-streamed? I really want to watch it. Kanglong also heard from Yongwei about Tianeng taming 007. But Kanglong naturally looks down on 007. No matter how powerful he is just a zombie minion of him. And I heard that it hasn't evolved any skills yet. But the Ender Dragon bred by your own guild is different. It took 48 hours of hard fighting with the Ender Dragon to defeat the Azure Dragon. Kanglong knows the strength of the Ender Dragon best. Kanglong is very confident that the Ender Dragon is definitely stronger than him. The Ender Dragon is currently in its juvenile form. If it can be grown to an adult state, then him is definitely no match for the Ender Dragon. Although Kanglong didn't want to get involved in the affairs of the Eternal Guild, Yongwei had already taken the initiative to step forward. He had no way to refuse. After thinking about this, Kanglong asked Shang Yongwei. Boss, how many people do you want to take with you? Yongwei thought for a moment and said. Leave 1,000 to 2,000 low-level players to maintain the guild's logistics, and take the rest with you. Yongwei brought nearly 30,000 people with him this time, including most of the members of the guild. In fact, he had already prepared for battle. After all, 007 from Tianeng is like a time bomb. You never know when him will come to you. Yongwei had never been sure before, and didn't know what would drop after Kanglong defeated the Ender Dragon. In fact, even after knowing that the Ender Dragon would drop the Ender Dragon egg, Yongwei still didn't want to fight this battle. Yongwei actually doesn't want to provoke him. Yongwei also knew about the previous events of the Yuntang Guild. Yongwei knew Yunli, and he was also very clear about Yunli's character. Even someone like Yunli was beaten out of the game, which is enough to show how difficult him is. But at this moment, him is already looking for the location of the Eternal Guild. Even if Yongwei wants to sit back and do nothing, it has to take care of it now. Once this happens, the guild's reputation will be lost. So this battle must be fought. Fortunately, the Ender Dragon is quite powerful, so we are confident of winning this battle. After Kanglong was ready, he and Yongwei immediately set out on the journey to the Eternal Guild's headquarters. At this moment, on the forum, a post titled "Come and See the Only Man in This Game Who Met Him Peacefully" became popular. The content of the post is very simple. It is about a group of people who met him, and told him the location of the Eternal Guild's headquarters. Then this time him actually let them go. After seeing this post, players immediately began to make all kinds of speculations. What the hell? The op is such a ruthless person, he really told him the coordinates. FK. You beat me to it. I was thinking I'd tell him next time I see him. You are so brave, op. If these coordinates are real, will the Eternal Guild let you go? It's the eternal glory that comes to you. What are you afraid of? HIM has already gone there. Who cares about the Eternal Guild or the Eternal Glory Guild? Aren't they all slaughtered anyway? That's not necessarily true. According to gossip, Eternal Glory is gathering its forces and heading towards the Eternal Guild. Him is actually looking for his diamond suit zombie subordinate. It seems that the zombie was locked up by the Eternal Guild. I heard that it has been tamed. They rebelled. No wonder HIM was so anxious to find them. It feels like there's another big battle going on. I just wonder if they'll broadcast it live. I really want to watch it. Probably not. Such a large guild will not broadcast live unless they are absolutely sure. Take Yuntang Guild for example. Quote. Players can already know about the feud between the Eternal Guild and him by just browsing the forum. After all, there is no impenetrable wall in this world. The players also joined in the fun with a nonchalant attitude, as if it had nothing to do with them. What is certain is that there will be a battle between the Eternal Guild and him. But players are not sure whether the Eternal Guild will broadcast this battle live. And players heard that him's diamond suit zombie minions were turned against by the Eternal Guild. It would be a shame if this battle was not broadcast live. In recent days, Peng has been paying attention to the developments in the forum. After learning that some players had already passed on the guild coordinates, Peng was extremely happy. My layout was quite successful. I believe that him will come soon. Seeing that players all commented that they wanted to watch the live broadcast of this battle, Peng really wanted to reply to them. This battle will definitely be broadcast live. But he couldn't reply, he had to stay in the guild until the day of the war. He wants to broadcast the entire battle live and bring disgrace to the Eternal Guild. It would be best if we could quit the game like Yuntang Guild did. After Xu Yuan got the coordinates of the Eternal Guild, he immediately started heading there. Originally, this coordinate was very close to the previous coordinate of the Yuntang Guild. But due to the searching these days, the distance is getting farther and farther. Even if we fly and teleport, it will probably take 2 days. During this period, 007 provided Xu Yuan with about 5 million kill points. Xu Yuan also reluctantly spent 2.5 million kill points to upgrade his teleportation skill to level 7. Teleport LV7 can teleport to a coordinate location. The coordinate location cannot exceed 3000 range of itself, and can carry items or organisms within a 30x30 range, cooling time 3s. Closing square bracket. Consume 2 million kill points to upgrade. Originally Xu Yuan thought that after upgrading he would be able to teleport to the coordinates without any restrictions, but after seeing the upgraded skills, he realized that he was overthinking. According to this development, it is estimated that it will take a maximum level to be able to teleport to the coordinate point without restrictions. So Xu Yuan no longer wasted his kill points and could only travel slowly. Besides, Xu Yuan is not as anxious as before. 07's current condition is very stable, and he is not losing blood like before. It means it is safe now. After more than 10 hours of travel, Yongwei and his group finally arrived at the Eternal Guild headquarters. Fortunately, the headquarters of the Glorious Guild and the Eternal Guild are not far away. There were no mountains or rivers blocking the way. Basically, you can walk all the way here without taking any detours. Yongwei and his group did not forget to feed the baby Ender Dragon while they were on their way. At this time, the Ender Dragon is already in its teenage years, and its size has grown dramatically. It is more than 50 blocks long and more than 20 blocks high. The dragon's scales also became darker, shinier and tougher. Even if an iron sword were to strike down, it would only leave a slight scratch on the dragon's scales. A juvenile Ender Dragon is already able to fly, and can breathe dragon breath like an adult Ender Dragon. It's just that what it spit out is more like dragon phlegm. It can spit out but not much, just a small mouthful. As soon as Yongwei and his men arrived at the Eternal Guild, all the players' attention was attracted by the Ender Dragon. What the hell? Is this the ultimate killer the boss mentioned? Hiss. Dragons. Our guild has tamed all the dragons. Wow. Isn't this dragon so damn handsome? Awesome, we've even got the dragons. Looks like we're going to get serious with him this time. Chapter 78. What the FK? Stop, stop, stop. Yongwei did a good job of keeping the secret, so the players of the Eternal Guild never knew that the Ender Dragon had been tamed by the Azure Dragon. Although they don't know that the Ender Dragon is the boss of the end, all players who have played the game know it. The dragons in the game have absolute dominance. Although this Ender Dragon doesn't look very big, its overall appearance looks very domineering. The scales on its body glow black, and it has a pair of eyes that emit dark purple light. Although the Ender Dragon is still in its youth, it already has the demeanor of a dominant overlord. At this moment, Tianheng was shocked when he saw the Ender Dragon hovering in the air. So this is the trump card that the boss was talking about. Before seeing the Ender Dragon, Tianheng still had no confidence. Tianheng now has fewer worries. Although we don't know the strength of the Ender Dragon, since someone like Yongwei can use it as a trump card, its strength must be strong. Yongwei and the others had traveled for such a long time, and after they arrived they had no intention of resting. He immediately ordered Tianheng Dao. Get that zombie out and let it compete with the Ender Dragon. Although the Ender Dragon is indeed very powerful, Yongwei is not sure whether monsters like him can hurt it. That's why we are so anxious to let them compete. After hearing this, Tianheng immediately asked his subordinates to bring 007 up. Only then did Yongwei and the others see the true appearance of 007. Its skin is gray-black, its entire body is extremely strong, and its eyes emit a strange red light. In his hand he held an iron sword. There's nothing wrong with holding the iron sword, but what's strange is that the way he holds the iron sword is very special. Most people use swords with the blade facing forward. However, 007 held the iron sword with the blade facing backwards. It doesn't feel like holding an iron sword, but more like holding a dagger. Although he is not very big, the aura he exudes is not weak. It already looks a bit like a little devil. After seeing the appearance of 007, Yongwei was also very satisfied. Good. Yongwei didn't say much, and directly let Kanglong control the Ender Dragon to land on the ground. The Ender Dragon flapped its wings and slowly descended. The flapping of the huge wings made the wind around them whistle. The surrounding players were also blown back a few steps by the wind. After the Ender Dragon landed, 007 stood not far away opposite it. He just glanced at the Ender Dragon, but there was no trace of fear on his face. He also looked the Ender Dragon up and down, as if he was thinking about something. Yongwei was surprised by 07's reaction. Generally speaking, lower creatures like this should be afraid of dragons. And 007 was conscious, and he didn't even flinch when he saw such a powerful existence. Interesting. Yongwei had to admit that this conscious monster was indeed extraordinary. Yongwei is also looking forward to the match between 007 and the Ender Dragon more and more. After Yongwei nodded, Tianheng immediately gave the order to attack. Attack! 007 arrived in front of the Ender Dragon in one leap and jumped more than 10 blocks high with one jump. Then he swung his arm, and the sword in his hand immediately stabbed towards the Ender Dragon's eyes. Yongwei was stunned when he saw this. What the hell? Stop, stop, stop. Yongwei never thought that 007 would attack the Ender Dragon in this way. He originally thought that 007 would attack the Ender Dragon's body, but he didn't expect that he would analyze the Ender Dragon's weakness so quickly and run directly towards its eyes. At this moment, seeing 07's actions, all the players were shocked. What the hell? Is this zombie so smart? Damn, he even knows how to attack the weak points. The scales on the Ender Dragon are hard to deal with, so I'll deal with the softest eyes first. You are worthy of being HIM's #1 little brother. Now he's our #1 little brother. Fortunately, Kanglong had been controlling the Ender Dragon and saw what 007 did. Kanglong immediately controlled the Ender Dragon to raise its head. The sword in 07's hand did not pierce the Ender Dragon's eyes but slashed along its neck. Followed by a sharp and loud, swish, sound. There was a huge crack on the scales of the Ender Dragon's neck. You know, players can only make a slight scratch on the Ender Dragon's scales by attacking it with an iron sword. And 007 directly split the scales, which is enough to show how terrifying 07's power is. However, although 007 broke the dragon scales of the Ender Dragon, the depth was not enough to cut the Ender Dragon. Seeing that the Ender Dragon was not injured, Yongwei wiped the sweat off his forehead and hurriedly gave orders. Don't let it get a weapon. Try it with your bare hands. Yongwei was also a little worried that another accident might happen. Seeing this, Tianheng immediately ordered 007 to lay down his weapon. Tianheng's order had been issued for a long time, but 007 remained unmoved. Tianheng couldn't help but feel a little confused, and was also afraid of being embarrassed, so he raised his voice and said it again. At this moment, Peng Peng, who was hiding in the crowd, suddenly coughed a few times. 007 then reluctantly put down his weapon. Then he attacked the Ender Dragon with his bare hands. After what happened just now, Tianheng specifically emphasized to 007 not to attack the eyes. 007 attacked again and punched the Ender Dragon's scales twice. Although 007 is very strong, the scales of the Ender Dragon are as hard as steel. It does no harm to the Ender Dragon at all. Seeing this, Yongwei cheered excitedly. Good. It seems that he can't break the Ender Dragon's defense with his bare hands. The reason why Yongwei was so happy was because he knew that him had no weapons. Although he would make armor and weapons for his younger brothers, he himself did not seem to have the habit of carrying weapons. And according to Yongwei's observation, him doesn't seem to be a power type. To put it simply, the reason why 007 was able to split the scales of the Ender Dragon is because he is very strong. HIM's previous appearances were mainly based on skills. Yongwei had tried it before, and the skills of other monsters were just tickling the Ender Dragon. Pose no threat. So when fighting against him, Yongwei only needs to protect the Ender Dragon's eyes. After seeing the battle between 007 and the Ender Dragon, Yongwei became more confident about this battle. Although 07's action just now really scared Yongwei, his action undoubtedly helped Yongwei. Otherwise, if him attacks the Ender Dragon's eyes like 007, it will be difficult to deal with. After Yongwei thought of this, he immediately gave orders to the players. Keep feeding the Ender Dragon and this zombie so they can grow quickly. I don't think we have much time left. Chapter 79. Him is really here. Time flies and a day goes by quickly. With the feeding of the Eternal Guild, the Ender Dragon has now grown into a young adult and should be not far from adulthood. The size and strength of the Ender Dragon have also increased significantly. At this time, the size of the Ender Dragon is almost the same as that of an adult Ender Dragon. It is more than 100 blocks long and more than 50 blocks high. The dragon's scales also became extremely tough, shiny black, and emitted a purple halo. 007 is also growing rapidly under the feeding of the Eternal Guild. His body is also stronger and his strength is terrifying. Now, one punch from it can make a dent in a dragon's scales. However, he still hasn't evolved any skills. During the time Yongwei was here, he had been training his troops in the base. Although there are two powerful weapons, the Ender Dragon and 007, players must definitely participate in this battle. We can't put all our hopes on these two monsters. Tianheng is discussing with the senior executives how to make 007 evolve his skills. I saw a player rushing in and then reporting. Boss, the player who posted the guild's coordinates anonymously has been found. It's Peng Peng. After hearing what the players said, the top executives were all filled with indignation. What the hell? It turned out to be him. What kind of people are like their wolves? A whole family of traitors. An ungrateful wolf raises an ungrateful wolf, how cool. I've said it before, just kick him out, otherwise there wouldn't be so much trouble. Quote. After hearing this, Tianheng immediately felt that the name was very familiar, but he couldn't remember who it was. Only after hearing the discussion among the senior management did he remember it. However, Tianheng was not very angry. After all, he now had the Ender Dragon and 007 as his trump cards, so it would not be a big deal even if him came. Tianheng didn't want to waste time on such a person, so he thought about it and said. Just kill him first, then kick him out of the guild. Don't waste your time on this kind of person. In fact, even Tianheng couldn't do anything to Peng Peng. Peng Peng is a player and can be resurrected even if he dies. The only thing you can do is to take away all his equipment and supplies, and then kick him out of the guild to vent your anger. It is impossible for Tianheng to cause trouble for Peng Peng through the internet cable. After hearing Tianheng's words, the players immediately found Peng Peng. Several players dug a deep pit and filled it with lava. Then he grabbed Peng Peng and pushed him down. In fact, when Peng Peng was taken away, he knew exactly what happened. After entering the magma pool, Peng Peng stopped struggling and allowed the boiling magma to burn himself. At this moment, a black shadow flashed over from the distance. The players standing around the lava pit were killed with just 2 bangs. When Peng Peng saw this, he was shocked. The black shadow turned out to be 007. He didn't know where 007 came from, but it was obvious that 007 wanted to save him. But Peng Peng couldn't let him do that. 007 had been lying in ambush for so long, and he couldn't let his flaws be exposed because of him. Just as 007 was about to kill the third player, Peng Peng shouted loudly. "You are not human. Even a zombie knows to protect the players of our eternal guild. How dare you do this to me?" The remaining players were a little surprised to see 07's behavior, but after hearing Peng Peng's words, they finally understood. He said hurriedly, "This is the order from Boss Tian Heng. Have you forgotten that you must obey Boss Tian Heng?" Upon seeing this, 07's outstretched hand also stopped in midair. After looking at Peng Peng deeply, he left. Seeing that 007 had calmed down, Peng Peng finally breathed a sigh of relief. Although 07's action just now was very risky, Peng Peng was still very happy. It's funny to say, he didn't expect that after playing the game for so long, a monster would care about him more than the players in the Eternal Guild. Damn it, I might as well follow him and become a monster. After Peng Peng's death, he was also kicked out of the guild. But this did not interrupt Peng Peng's revenge plan. After Peng Peng was resurrected, he immediately rushed to the vicinity of the Eternal Guild. Then he started searching around for the best live broadcast location. Before, Peng Peng was worried about what would happen when him came and started the live broadcast battle. What if he was killed in seconds by him in the middle of the battle? Now you don't have to worry about this problem, you just need to find the best position. Peng Peng just found a good spot not long ago. Suddenly, a figure was seen floating in the air outside the entrance of the Eternal Guild's headquarters. I don't know when it appeared. Peng Peng didn't even see it just now. Although this person had his back to Peng Peng, Peng Peng knew without a doubt that the only person who could suddenly appear here and float in the air could be that person. The devil him. Peng Peng was so happy to see him appear outside the Eternal Guild's headquarters. Him, you are finally here. Peng Peng opened the forum and started the live broadcast without saying a word. Him descends upon the Eternal Guild, a war is about to begin. Closing square bracket. Because the title was so attractive, many players clicked in immediately. At this moment, him is facing away from the live broadcast room, and opposite him is a towering building. Many areas have been planned next to the building, including livestock areas, farmland, wells, etc. The building is surrounded by a 40-block high wall. There are also outposts on the city walls, and the walls are covered with flags. These flags combine to form the logo of the Eternal Guild. Seeing the scenes in the live broadcast room, the players were all very excited. What the hell? Him really went there. This Eternal Guild headquarters is so magnificent. I'll take a screenshot first, it will probably become ruins soon. It's only been a short time, and him can fly already. I don't know how strong he is now, I'm looking forward to it. What the hell? What the hell? Look what I found. There's actually a live broadcast. I'm going to forward this. Such a wonderful live broadcast must be shared. Quote. The players all wanted to watch the fun and immediately heated up the live broadcast room. This has also attracted more and more players to pay attention to this live broadcast room. At this moment, at the Eternal Guild headquarters, the player standing guard at the outpost was feeling sleepy when suddenly a figure jumped out from the air in front of him. The player was immediately scared to death. When he saw the man's appearance clearly, goosebumps instantly covered his whole body. Him. The player was stunned for a long time before he finally realized his mission. They immediately opened the guild channel. Him is coming. Him is coming. Attention. This is not a drill. Him is really here. Chapter 80 The Battle of Him's Fall. Yongwei also made a lot of preparations for this battle. In order to prevent him from launching sneak attacks, he asked the players to move around deep underground. Players have not been allowed to go out and explore these days. Furthermore, the font color of the players standing guard at the sentry post in the guild channel is also specially set to red. This makes it more obvious. As soon as the players on Sentinel Port released the news, the guild channel exploded. What the hell? It's here so soon. Even though I have two powerful monsters backing me up, I'm still a little scared. What's going on? Everyone, don't panic, follow the boss's instructions. Quote. Yang Wei had already expected him to come, but he didn't expect him to come so soon. He glanced at the young Ender Dragon standing beside him and couldn't help but feel a little worried. If the Ender Dragon grows to adulthood, Yang Wei will have absolute confidence in this battle. But he is still a young man now, and his strength is definitely not as strong as that of an adult Ender Dragon. But now the arrow has been drawn and the time has come to shoot. Seeing this, Yang Wei had no choice but to go ahead. Yang Wei immediately gathered all the players in the underground square. I founded Eternal Glory 10 years ago and have launched countless games. I believe there are many old players who have followed us all the way and witnessed our growth. In the next 5 years, no matter which game we enter, I, Eternal Glory, will have the final say. We are second, who dares to be first? Players in the game are also called the fourth calamity. No matter if you are a god descended from heaven or a supreme dragon, as long as you dare to have health bars, I will knock you down. I don't know much about him, I just want to know if he has a health bar. It has to be said that Yang Wei, as the president of the first guild, is quite good at boosting morale. Just a few words built up the players' confidence and they became excited instantly. There's a health bar, but it's much shorter than the Ender Dragon's. I guess his health bar is about the same as mine. Ha 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 ha. Boss, that's right. What is the fourth calamity? As long as you have health, we are your father. So what if you have ideas? Your little brother also has ideas. Hasn't he been turned against us? Let's go. Let's beat him. We need to let him know that we, the players, have the final say in this game. Quote. At this moment, each of the players seemed to be injected with chicken blood and were full of fighting spirit. Yang Wei was also very satisfied with the players' performance. Brothers, this battle is a battle to make you famous. Oh, I forgot. We don't need to be famous anymore. Then this battle will be a battle to remove the name him from the game. Following Yang Wei's command, all the players rushed into the excavated tunnel. The players moved quickly in the tunnel and soon reached the ground. Players appeared around the base one after another. There were more than 60,000 players, surrounding him in the middle. Each of the players was fully armed. The players in the first few rows were all wearing full body armor and holding iron shields. Some players even had diamond swords. Although the players in the back row are not wearing full sets of iron armor, they are only missing a few pieces. This is enough to show the strength of the first guild. After the players were in position, a dragon roar was heard in the sky. Yang Wei and Kanglong rode the Ender Dragon into the sky. After the Ender Dragon took off and circled in the sky, it immediately arrived on the opposite side not far from him. The players in the live broadcast room were all dumbfounded when they saw this. It was the first time they saw the Dragon Clan. What the hell? There are dragons in this game. Hiss. No wonder the Eternal Guild dared to accept the challenge, so they tamed the dragon. This dragon looks so handsome. Him looks so small in front of it. As expected of the number 1 guild, isn't it awesome? They even got such a cool mount. With such excellent equipment and this dragon, the strength of Eternal Glory is truly well deserved. Could this be the battle where him fell? If players hadn't seen it with their own eyes, they wouldn't have known that dragons existed in this game. And the players are also very aware of the value of the Dragon Clan. Moreover, the players on the battlefield are all well equipped. There are more than 60,000 people, and almost everyone has a set of iron suits. Needless to say, their strength is very strong. Just as the players were exclaiming in amazement, the camera in the live broadcast room moved downwards. All I saw was a monster with gray-black skin and red eyes standing in front of the player team. Although the monster was only holding an iron sword in his hand, he looked very handsome holding the sword. The big sword became like a dagger in its hand. Although the monster is not big in size, the aura it exudes is no less powerful than that of the Ender Dragon hovering in the air. What the hell? Could that monster be the younger brother of HIM's Diamond Suit Zombie? Hiss, has the Eternal Guild made it like this? Is this a rebellion? No wonder him wants to cause trouble for the Eternal Guild. This monster seems to be quite powerful. With this dragon, him probably. Quote. Xu Yuan was also a little surprised to see the Ender Dragon hovering in the air. I didn't expect the players to be so fast and find the end of the world. What makes Xu Yuan even more curious is that the Ender Dragon can actually be tamed. However, Xu Yuan soon discovered that this Ender Dragon seemed to be a little smaller. He didn't know what the reason was, but it didn't matter. Xu Yuan never took the Ender Dragon seriously. Xu Yuan just glanced at the Ender Dragon and didn't look at it again. Xu Yuan's expression was quickly caught by Yongwei and Kanglong, and they were both a little stunned. What's that expression on his face? Why did he just glance this way? I don't know, maybe he doesn't recognize it. Didn't the zombie not care much when he first saw the Ender Dragon? Maybe, right. In any case, the size of the Ender Dragon is there, and it is a dragon. Even if him doesn't recognize it, he has thoughts. At least he should feel a little threatened by this huge creature. But he only glanced at the Ender Dragon and never looked back in this direction again. This also made Yongwei and Kanglong feel a little confused. But when I think about how 007 didn't react at all when he encountered the Ender Dragon, I think it seems reasonable. So I didn't think about it anymore. At this moment, Xu Yuan's attention was all on 007 below. Although 07's appearance had completely changed, Xu Yuan still recognized him at first sight. When Xu Yuan saw his eyes glowing red, he knew that he was no longer 007. It may have become a more powerful being. Seeing this, Xu Yuan slowly landed opposite 007. Although Xu Yuan did nothing, this action scared the surrounding players and made them retreat one after another. He seemed to be full of energy just now, but when he saw him himself, he was instantly shocked by his aura. As soon as Xu Yuan landed, he saw 007 raising the sword in his hand and suddenly rushing towards Xu Yuan at a high speed. It is like a black shadow, so fast that it cannot be captured by the naked eye. Tianeng was stunned when he saw 07's reaction. Quote question mark. I haven't even given the order yet. You attacked on your own. At this moment, the players on the battlefield were delighted after seeing 07's actions. What the hell? So fierce. He just rushed up and did it without saying anything. It seems that we have brainwashed it successfully. But, hasn't our brainwashing always been about obeying our eternal guild? How did he know him? You forgot that it has consciousness. It must have sensed that it was an enemy. Just like it attacked the Ender Dragon's eyes before. Quote. At this moment, all players' attention is focused on 007. Their spirits were all tense, as they really wanted to know whether 007 could deal with him. When 007 approached him, he immediately raised the sword in his hand and stabbed it straight at him. Just when the players thought he was going to attack him. However, he saw that the sword had shifted its position and was inserted straight into the soil in front of him. Then, a scene occurred that shocked everyone. After 007 stuck the sword in his hand into the mud, he knelt on one knee in front of him with a pop. He lowered his head and didn't even dare to look him in the eye. He uttered two words vaguely. My king. Thank you for watching. Continue exploring the fascinating world of Chinese novels with us. Hit that subscribe button on Chinese Novel Audiobook to stay updated with our latest stories. And never miss out on a great listen.